Chapter 2709. The divine judge's voice was filled with helplessness as he let out a long sigh. It was clear that he really had no other choice. Even if he was angry, he could only suppress it in his heart because he knew that it was useless to be angry. Is Bastier's condition serious? Great divine lord, this bastard, what right did he have to take over the myriad realms' divine court? The divine court of the myriad realms was built up by all of you. Qin Yin said angrily. Xiaoxia's condition had stabilized. That great divine king said that he was the true king of gods of the myriad realms' divine court. The divine preceptor said helplessly, "My deity punishment flags can't use the power of the myriad realms' divine son to attack him." Qin Yin finally understood why the divine preceptor was so helpless. It was because the myriad heavens' divine punishment flags were bestowed to him by the myriad world's divine Sunday. This was also the source of his strength. Such as now, as long as the divine judge used the heavens' divine punishment flags, he would obtain great power. The other big shots were quite afraid of the heavens' divine punishment flags. The heavenly punishment flag was useless against the great divine lord, so the great divine lord could do whatever he wanted in front of the divine judge. Then what are the plans of the gods of the myriad realms' divine court? Qin Yun asked. Are they going to follow the great divine lord? The divine judge said. If that's the case, then I might be a bit more relieved. But the great divine lord did not fancy them at all. He wants to become a new god and drive away all the original gods, or force them to pass on their positions. What? This guy's truly reckless. Qin Yin cursed in low voice. He can also pass on his position? No. So he wants to find you and snatch away your divine, king, heavenly seal. The god judge's voice suddenly became serious. He said from the magic mirror, Boss Qin, you must protect your god, king, heaven seal. We absolutely cannot let both divine, king, heavenly seals land in his hands. Yin suddenly felt a lot more at ease. He never thought that the great divine king heavenly seal could not be passed down. In that case, his little divine king heavenly seal was not inferior to the great divine kings. Divine judge, gather all the trusted subordinates of the divine court of myriad realms. After that, we'll build a heavenly divine court city and contact Brother Space and Brotherin. Ask them to help us move the teleportation formation. Boss Qin, are you going to fight against the great divine lord? The divine judge said, if I rebuild the heavenly city, it will anger him and he will destroy it. The new divine court's heavenly city will be built within the 4 suns. Go gather everyone and discuss how to rebuild it. The 4th divine sun is my, Qin Yun's, territory. Don't be afraid of them. Qin Yun also felt that this was an opportunity for him to establish his might in front of the great divine king. Inside the 4 divine suns, it is very difficult for others to defeat him by borrowing the divine power of the 4 divine suns. Furthermore, Yu controls the core of the 4 god suns. She can control the 4 god suns to release even stronger divine power. All right. The divine preceptor nodded. He also realized that there was definitely a problem with the divine desolate having big and small god monarchs. In the eyes of the divine preceptor, Qin Yun had the demeanor of a god king. One ever since the establishment of the myriad realms' divine court. Qin Yun had never gone there because he did not care about his position in the myriad realms' divine court. That the great divine king is different. He actually directly attacked the divine preceptor. This kind of behavior is very vile. If the great divine king controlled the myriad realms' divine court, it would be a disaster for the divine desolate. The divine preceptor also has heavenly ghost ancestor. Heavenly ghost ancestor's strength is not weak, and he is now a ghost. With him and the divine preceptor together, Qin Yun is a lot more at ease. One in the myriad realms' divine court, there are dog god, evil god, mind god, and other god rank gods. Although they are not particularly strong, they are all outstanding gods, and they are also Qin Yun's good friends. Now that such a thing has happened in the myriad realms' divine court, they will definitely stand on the divine preceptor's side. After Qin Yun and the divine preceptor hung up, he went to contact Wang Haoyue. Wang Haoyue and the group of big shots are heading to the four divine suns. Previously, Qin Yun contacted him to destroy their buildings inside the four god suns, and he agreed to it. Divine, if the Moon Alliance's buildings inside the four divine suns were still there, they would definitely be occupied by the sun in divine race. Qin Yun originally planned to let Yu release a barrier to prevent them from entering. However, after careful consideration, if they attacked the surface of the four divine suns, it might affect the entire four divine suns. Also, it would be better to let them enter the four divine suns. When they can't do anything inside, they will naturally leave. Moon, you only need to guard the inner region and not let them enter. Once the inner region gives birth to a strong race, there's no need to be afraid of them. Bright Moon Sect Master, you have heard about the matter of the Myriad Realms Divine Court, right? Qin Yun asked. Are you worried that the divine moon of the heavens will be forcefully occupied by them? Of course I'm afraid. The people from the Nine Sun Holy Land are all very fierce, and they look down on us who are not from the Nine Sun Holy Land. Only the law enforcement world and the dragon race can be put in their eyes. Wang Haoyue said, his voice is also filled with displeasure. It is clear that he is being looked down upon. How about this? Your Bright Moon Sect, don't be in a hurry to build houses. I plan to build a new, bigger, and better divine court heavenly city inside the four divine suns. Qin Yun said, when the time comes, I will let the divine preceptor give your Bright Moon Sect a territory inside the divine court heavenly city. How about it? All right. Hearing this, Wang Haoyue immediately thought of many things. He knows that Qin Yun wants to fight against the great divine king. If it was anyone else, Wang Haoyue would definitely think that there was no chance. However, Qin Yun is different. He is still very confident in Qin Yun. Don't worry, there is nothing to be afraid of in the Nine Sun Holy Land. If we work together, we will let them know that the Nine Sun Holy Land is only SOSO. Qin Yun said, all right, Boss Qin, you made the carefree smoke, right? Those guys all think that it is from my Bright Moon Sect. They're asking me for the secret recipe. Help me think of a way. Wang Haoyue said, they ask you for it, so you give it to them? Why are you so scared? Qin Yun curled his lips and said, all right, then I will sell the carefree smoke formula to them and say that the carefree smoke is not mine. Wang Haoyue said, since my carefree smoke can't sell to your carefree smoke, I might as well sell it to them at a high price now. Them? Who exactly wants to buy your formula? Qin Yun asked. Sun in divine race, great divine king, law enforcement world, dragon race, they all want to buy it. Then make it themselves and sell it themselves. How can I not be scared when facing these guys? I'm not like you, Boss Qin. Wang Haoyue is also very helpless. All right, sell it to them at a high price. I guarantee that they will suffer a great loss. Qin Yun chuckled and said. King Haoyue suddenly felt much more comfortable. At least he could still make a lot of money. Qin Yun returned to the second layer space of the four divine suns core. The pill, transformation, heavenly furnace released a very strong heat. It has now become very calm. It has already completed the task that Qin Yun had given him. Qin Yun opened the lid of the pill, transformation, heavenly furnace. Inside were 50 divine universe golden stones that had been compressed. Every divine universe golden stone was synthesized from 10 divine universe golden stones, and its quality was very high. Chapter 2710. Qin Yun wants to fuse this divine universe metal stone, which contains a lot of energy, into the stage manifestation purple ginseng. This way, the stage manifestation purple ginseng can quickly grow. To achieve a perfect fusion, he needed the profound fusion heavenly rune. Yao Xue is still asleep. If she wasn't asleep, with her help, it would have been a lot faster. Yin finally knows why Yushang Yun was so fond of Yi Yao Xue in Guanghan Palace. Just like that, this is because her mysterious fusion heavenly rune is very helpful in refining medicine, pill, and runes. Qin Yun's Gemini treasure mirror has mysterious fusion heavenly rune. It was also evolved by Yi Yao Xue. The profound fusion heavenly rune he made through the Gemini treasure mirror wasn't the most perfect one. He still needed to fix it himself. Qin Yin activated the Gemini treasure mirror's Gemini heavenly rune and copied the mysterious fusion heavenly rune recorded in the mirror. On the patterns were all lumps, a kind of three-dimensional existence. Messenger when using inscription do technique, the three-dimensional runes can become even closer to heavenly runes, and their might will become even stronger. This is a skill that all inscription do saints must master. Qin Yin spent less than half a day and finally produced a mysterious fusion heavenly rune. Moreover, it is flawed. Since he has mastered the Empyrean inscription spirit, he can quickly see what is wrong with the heavenly rune. Qin Yin used the floating cloud divine needle to fiddle with the threads inside the runes. Those threads are all runes. If there is a slight deviation in their curvature, it will have a great impact on the heavenly rune. It can even cause the heavenly rune to lose its effectiveness and dissipate. Therefore, it required a very strong power of the blood soul and mental power to control the finesse of the inscriptions. This way, the inscriptions would be more natural and smooth, and their power would be even stronger. Qin Yin is currently adjusting those imperfect runes. He is seriously fixing them one by one. He needs to be very focused. After all, it was a heavenly pattern created by the Gemini treasure mirror, so it was impossible for it to be perfect. Double if the mirror is able to replicate runes below heavenly rune rank, its precision will be very good. Basically, it can be used directly without needing to spend any effort. By the time Yin was done with the enigmatic fusion heavenly rune, almost a day had passed. He wiping the sweat off his forehead. He took a deep breath and began to absorb the divine energy within the core. The surroundings suddenly emanated a mist that surged into Qin Yun's body and head. Qin Cloud took 100 deep breaths. Her exhausted soul and body immediately became lively again. It's good to be inside the core. Qin Yun laughed and took out a purple ginseng. This transcendent purple ginseng was still very young. There was still a long time before it matured. No wonder this thing is so precious in the sun, in divine tribe. It is so hard to grow it. Black runes appeared on Qin Yun's palm and quickly formed a group. The runes on his palm are nether sun totems. Qin Yun held the perfection purple ginseng tightly in her palm, and then imprinted the nether sun totem on her palm onto the perfection purple ginseng. Qin Yun had tried to use runes to refine medicine and plant medicine before. He was self-taught and relied on his own perception. He would do whatever he wanted, and he would always succeed. This time is no exception. He easily imprinted the nether sun totem on the purple ginseng. In order to smoothly succeed, a flower totem appeared on his other palm. First, he created a layer of flower totem, and then imprinted the nether sun totem on top of it. This way, the perfection purple ginseng will not reject it. If other inscription masters knew that he used such a complex and formidable totem on a ginseng medicine, they would definitely think that it is impossible. Qin after Yin completed the totem on the perfection purple ginseng. He pasted the divine universe golden stone on the perfection purple ginseng. He activated the nether sun totem on the perfection purple ginseng and produced a devouring power. Then he activated the mysterious fusion heavenly rune inside the divine universe golden stone. Just like this, the high-quality divine universe golden stone was naturally absorbed by the perfection purple ginseng. Divine after the divine universe golden stone entered the perfection purple ginseng. The mysterious fusion heavenly rune also began to take effect and fused with the perfection purple ginseng. The perfection purple ginseng gradually changed. Its surface overflowed with strong golden light. At this time, Qin Yin drew out very strong divine universe purple energy and white divine sun energy from the nine sun divine soul and wrapped them around the perfection purple ginseng. Transformation, the nether sun totem inside the perfection purple ginseng is still absorbing the divine universe purple energy and white divine sun energy very quickly. The divine universe golden stone has the most energy. After all, It is a fertilizer, and it is directly embedded inside the perfection purple ginseng. In order to break through, it is really not easy. Qin Yun placed the perfection purple ginseng inside the nine sun divine souls, divine yang heavenly soil. According to this speed, it should mature in a few days. If not, I will have to wait for 3 to 5 years. Qin Yun said in his heart. Want if Sun In Divine Race's Pill Master heard this, they would definitely vomit blood in anger. Because if they wanted to plant the perfection purple ginseng, it would take them tens of thousands of years or even longer to grow. And to plant it inside the divine yang heavenly soil, it would take several years, and Qin Yun still thinks it is too slow. Yang brought along Mo and the other few little guys to play inside the core space. No, not only Yang, even Mo, Little Queen Ant, and Little Jade Rabbit are constantly thinking about the Dragon Peach. Qin Yun did not expect that even the Inscription Fungus Queen can eat the Dragon Peach. It has been led astray by Yang and the other little foodies. Big brother, plant a Dragon Peach divine tree in the divine yang heavenly soil. You are so awesome. You will definitely be able to plant it. Yang mumbled. The biggest use of the Dragon Peach is the Peach Pit. Qin Yun doesn't have many Peach Pits left in his hand. The crystal seed inside the Peach Pit is very mysterious and formidable. The Peach Pit is also very strong and can be used to refine tools. How to plant it? The Peach Pit is a seed, but it is very difficult to grow it, right? Qin Yun looked at these little things. He is now making mysterious fusion heavenly rune. He wants to get a few more perfection purple ginseng. Mo the little fairy flew to Qin Yun's ear and said, Big brother, you can carve the white divine sun totem on the Peach Pit, then break it and it will germinate. White divine sun totem. Qin Yun has mastered sun totem, but he doesn't know he has divine sun totem. You can find the white divine sun totem inside the white divine Sunday. This is a heavenly rune, evolved from the sun totem. I can help you obtain the white divine sun totem. Mo said. That's right, if there is nether sun totem, there must be white divine sun totem, divine universe purple sun totem, and so on. Qin Yun nodded and said with smile, Hurry up and go. If everything goes smoothly, you will be able to eat your own Dragon Peach very soon. Yang immediately rushed in with her little friends and entered the pearl where the white divine sun is. She can very easily enter the divine sun. Bringing Mo and others inside is also not a problem. Qin Yun is actually looking forward to the white divine sun totem. If he can master it, he might be able to grow the perfection purple ginseng even faster. Chapter 27:11. Qin Yun let Little Queen Ant come out and bring him outside. After opening the second layer space, Qin Yun can contact Xiansha Zi and the others for the magic mirror to understand the situation of the 4 divine sons. Xiansha Zi is the Heavenly Secret Sect's Heavenly Venerable Bay. He is now beside the Heavenly Secret Sect Master, so he knows a lot of things. Qin Yun has gathered information from various parties and has a general understanding of the situation of the 4 divine sons. With the dragon race as the leader, many powerful races of the 9 sun Holy Land followed and entered the 4 divine sons. Before coming, he already knew the general situation inside the 4 divine sons. It was mainly Yin Tianyi who told those big shots. He said, when talking about the situation inside the 4 divine sons, Yin Tianyi gnashed his teeth and said that Qin Yun was heinous beyond redemption. Overall, previously, Yin Tianyi had said a lot of bad things about Qin Yun because back then, his body was destroyed by Qin Yun inside. To whether those big shots believe it or not, Xiansha Zi doesn't know. Zhu Heavenly Dragon Emperor, Great Divine King, Sun In Race Emperor, and other big shots' understanding of Qin Yun is only hearsay. They have never seen Qin Yun before. They entered the 4 divine sons and originally wanted to stay, but they found out that all the buildings inside had collapsed. They don't know why the stone creation divine tools used to build houses failed. They immediately thought that this was done by Qin Yun and believed that Qin Yun is inside the 4 divine sons. These big shots all have some house-type divine tools. They released those houses and went inside to rest. If they can't build houses here on a large scale, it will be difficult for them to develop. Only Qin Yun can make stone creation divine tools. The inscription masters and tool refiners they brought are also studying them. Now only those big shots have houses to live in, the others can only live outside. Even if they release tents, they will be damaged soon. The divine power inside the 4 divine sons is very corrosive. If the divine weapons and divine tools are not strong enough, they will be damaged soon. Only in less than half a day, some of the big shots' houses and divine tools have begun to rust. For knowing that they can build houses inside the 4 divine sons, those big shots began to search for Qin Yun. They believe that Qin Yun is inside. Qin Yun is not worried that they will affect the core area. The defense of the core region was very strong. Even if a large group of descendants of the Divine Sun wanted to enter the core region, it would take them many years to break through the defense of the core region. By then, the energy of the Divine Sun would be exhausted. What Qin Yun found funny was that even the great Divine King could not think of a way to build a house within the 4 Divine Sons. After Qin Yun understood the situation inside, he felt much more comfortable. Then, he returned to the second layer space and continued to make fertilizer. He made another 5. In another 10 days, he would be able to harvest 5 mature purple ginseng. The transformative purple ginseng that he had made previously would need 2 to 3 days to ripen. While waiting, Qin Yun took out the reincarnation gate he obtained previously. This reincarnation gate was a divine weapon of the universe. When he was outside contacting Yao Yao, he found out that the big shots of the ancient Yu clan all wanted this reincarnation gate and would definitely ask him for it in the future. The reincarnation gate was black and extremely huge. After the entire reincarnation gate was released, it seemed very out of place in this white double space. This reincarnation gate's ability is truly strange. It can actually let a person's soul reincarnate. Qin Yun looked at the door frame of the reincarnation gate. The door is now closed and Qin Yun is unable to open it, so he can only study the door frame. One must master the reincarnation heavenly law in order to open this kind of reincarnation gate. The reincarnation gate has a very strong destructive power towards the soul. It is said that when the soul is sucked into the reincarnation gate, it is forced to undergo reincarnation. As for what happens to the soul after that, no one knows. If I can master this thing and fight with a large number of Divine Sun descendants and force their souls out, I wonder if I can absorb them in batches. Qin Yun is currently pondering over this matter. He discovered that most of the current strong races have undying souls. He suspected that the power that created those strong races was based on the Divine Sun descendants to create living beings, which is why their souls are undying and indestructible. Also, the heaven-opening ancient clan should have been the first race with immortal souls. The descendants of the Divine Sun only appeared later on. Could it be that this reincarnation gate was created by the heaven-opening ancient race to restrain undying souls? Qin Yun secretly guessed. Back then, there were many races in the heaven-opening ancient race. They must have fought each other, but they were unable to destroy each other's souls. Then they needed to create something that could restrain undying souls. If this thing was created by the Yu ancient race's ancestor, then the Yu ancient race will be very worried. Qin Yun opened his heavenly eye and checked the reincarnation gate frame to find the reincarnation heavenly law. He asked Yu Yao Yao about the reincarnation heavenly law. Yu Yao Yao only said that after Yu Luanhui obtained the reincarnation gate for a period of time, he mastered the reincarnation heavenly law. Clearly, the reincarnation heavenly law must have come from this reincarnation gate. It might be inside the gate. Qin Yun looked at the tightly closed, huge black gate and decided to open it. He carefully checked the reincarnation gate frame and the inside, but didn't find anything. Only by opening the gate can he check the inside. The reincarnation gate's door has been damaged. Qin Yun released 9 huge mountain-like altars and formed the 9-dragon heavenly origin formation. He hasn't used the 9-dragon heavenly origin formation for a period of time. It's not that the formation isn't strong enough. It's just that the situation where it can be used is limited. The Nine-Dragon Heavenly Origin formation is still very strong, especially now that it is combined with the Divine King Heavenly Seal and the Divine Sun power inside the Nine-Sun Divine Soul. As long as it is not used for a long time, people will gradually feel that this formation is not a threat and will lower their vigilance. In fact, the Nine-Dragon Heavenly Origin formation's potential has not been fully excavated. The Nine-Dragon Heavenly Origin formation surrounded the gate and formed a barrier to prevent the reincarnation gate from being destroyed after it is opened. Qin Yun, who is standing at a distance, took out the heaven-locking chain and threw it at the reincarnation gate's door. After it was broken, he vigorously pulled open the door. After the reincarnation gate was pulled open, it is pitch black inside. It is unknown where it leads to. Qin Yun separated a part of his soul and a part of his body and entered the reincarnation gate. At the same time, he opened his heavenly eye and shot out two divine lights to protect his soul and part of his body. One of his soul and one of his body entered the reincarnation gate, mainly to check if there is the reincarnation heavenly law inside. When one of his soul and one of his body entered the reincarnation gate, he discovered that the inside is actually a very large pitch black space. This space is very strange. It can only accommodate souls. Material things that enter will be bounced out. Qin Yin tried to throw a Divine Universe Golden Stone in, but it was bounced back. After one of his soul and one of his body left, he discovered that the situation inside the reincarnation gate is different from the rumors. But there is no samsara power produced, and there are a large number of souls in the space inside. Chapter 2712. Regarding the power of the reincarnation gate, they have all heard of it. Even Yu Yao Yao has only seen it a few times in all her years in the Yu Ancient clan. Closhi has only heard about the reincarnation gate from her elders. Also, in other words, no one can be sure that after a soul is sucked into the reincarnation gate, it will truly be reincarnated. Yu Luanhui's name is not Yu Luanhui. It was changed after he obtained the reincarnation gate. This will deepen people's impression of him and make them remember that he can make people reincarnate. And no one can be sure whether or not this is the case. After all, a soul that is sucked into the reincarnation gate can never come out again. Qin, after obtaining the reincarnation gate, Yin forcefully opened it and released his heavenly soul and heavenly soul inside to investigate. He found out that it is a space to imprison souls, and he did not find any reincarnation gate. This reincarnation gate doesn't have the ability to reincarnate. Qin Yin finds it funny. Even the Yu Ancient clan people were fooled. This is just a heavenly divine tool that can imprison souls. Qin Yin also has this kind of heavenly divine tool. Soul creation, heavenly cauldron, and pill transformation, heavenly furnace are both such divine tools. No, similarly, soul creation, heavenly cauldron, and pill transformation, heavenly furnace are not specially made to imprison souls. Reincarnation gate looks more like it was created to imprison souls. It is a heavenly divine tool specially made to deal with souls. It seems like even Yu Luanhui's control over the reincarnation gate is not good enough. Otherwise, his soul would not have been sucked inside. Because Yu Luanhui's soul was sucked into the reincarnation gate, Qin Yun is able to control it. Qin Yun's heavenly soul and heavenly soul entered the depths of the gate and sensed many powerful souls inside. These souls are undying and indestructible. Because they are very strong, they contain enough soul power. Even if they are imprisoned, they will not perish. They can live for a very long time, even forever. Qin Yin took back his heavenly soul and heavenly soul. After this investigation, he understood the reincarnation gate even more. It seems like there is no reincarnation heavenly law at all. It is all Yu Luanhui's nonsense. Qin Yin shook his head and smiled. He thought it was true and seriously probed whether the reincarnation heavenly law was hidden inside the reincarnation gate or not. The gate of reincarnation was just a divine tool of the universe that could absorb and imprison souls. As long as one refined this divine tool, they would be able to control it. There was no need for the reincarnation heavenly law. Toes for the heavenly law of reincarnation. It was all made up by Yu Luan Hui to shock others. Ancient Yu clan's people are so easy to deceive. Yao Yao still believes them without a doubt. Qin Yin said with smile. Not only Yu Yao Yao, even her cousin Yu Song Yuan was tricked. Their understanding of Yu Luan Hui mainly came from their elders. This meant that their elders were truly tricked by Yu Luan Hui. The elders of the ancient Yu clan were stunned by Yu Luan Hui's gate of reincarnation, which was why Yu Luan Hui had a place in the clan. Otherwise, he would definitely not have a good ending with this divine artifact that could suppress the undying soul. Even if the gate of reincarnation wasn't as powerful as the legends made it out to be, just the fact that it could imprison immortal souls was enough to intimidate many people. Qin Yun retracted the heaven-locking chain, and the half-door closed automatically. It seems like after being imprisoned by the gate of reincarnation, it won't be easy for the soul to come out. Qin Yun just opened the half-door, but he didn't see any soul flying out. Although his heavenly soul and heavenly soul flew in, they can also come out. Therefore, he guessed that there must be some kind of power that can imprison souls deep within the gate of reincarnation. Qin Yun flew up and stood on top of the gate of reincarnation. He released a large nether moon that floated above his head. Then he released a sacred tribulation gate. This sacred tribulation gate is the divine moon Tao Image's tribulation gate. Both divine moon and nether moon can strengthen mental power and soul. The difference is that nether moon has a stronger destructive power towards mind and soul. Moreover, it can devour mind and soul. Qin Yun wants to use the power of nether moon and divine moon to strengthen his mental power and cleanse the gate of reincarnation. The main thing is to erase the soul and soul imprint inside. While after returning to the sect for so many years, it must have been refined by Yu Luan Hui and left behind a very strong soul imprint. Qin Yun doesn't erase it, he won't be able to control the gate of reincarnation. Although the gate of reincarnation doesn't have the ability to reincarnate, Qin Yun feels that calling it the gate of reincarnation is pretty good. Qin Yun poured his formidable mental power into the divine tool and erased all the mental power and soul imprints on the runes inside the divine tool. This process is called cleansing. If one wants to use this kind of second-hand divine tool, they must go through this step. Moreover, they must wash their face thoroughly. If it is not thorough enough, they will easily suffer a backlash when using it in the future. What if Yang Shiryu is not in seclusion? Qin Yun would have asked her to come out and help. Yang Shiryu also cultivates divine moon and nether moon. Moreover, she specializes in moon Dao. With her help, it will be twice the result with half the effort. Qin Yun wants to first cleanse himself, and then let Yang Shiryu cleanse herself. This way, it will be safer. While Qin Yun is pouring his formidable mental power into the gate of reincarnation to circulate, he suddenly heard a voice. Qin Yun, you little bastard, quickly let me out. This is Yu Luan Hui's voice. Qin Yun is not surprised that he can hear Yu Luan Hui's voice. Yu Luan Hui's soul is inside the gate of reincarnation. Since the gate of reincarnation has been refined by Yu Luan Hui, he can naturally sense other people's mental power entering the gate of reincarnation. Therefore, he can communicate with Qin Yun through spirit sound transmission. Yu Luan Hui, are you comfortable inside the gate of reincarnation? Qin Yun said with smile, thank you very much for giving me the gate of reincarnation. Thank you. Yu Luan Hui is about to explode from anger. He also knows that Qin Yun is cleansing the gate of reincarnation. This means that Qin Yun already has a good understanding of the gate of reincarnation. While the gate of reincarnation can only imprison souls. This has always been Yu Luan Hui's secret. He did not even tell his own son about it. You bastard. Yu Luan Hui cursed a bunch of profanities, but he only heard Qin Yun's giggle. This made him even angrier. Qin Yun said with smile, the gate of reincarnation is truly a good divine tool. I will gladly accept it. I will definitely use it properly and capture even more souls so that Senior won't be so lonely inside. Most of the souls imprisoned inside the gate of reincarnation are Yulun Hui's enemies or have been tricked by Yulun Hui. Such as now that Yulun Hui is also inside, things are getting lively. Understand the gate of reincarnation the best. I will definitely be able to get out. When I get out, it will be the day you die. Yulun Hui furiously yelled. Yulun Hui, do you miss your son Yu Yongyao? In order to repay you for giving me the gate of reincarnation, I will quickly send him in and let you father and son reunite. Qinyan said with mischievous smile. Chapter 27:13. Nethermoon released a very strong divine power. The divine moon inside the sacred tribulation gate blew out a burst of golden gale and entered the reincarnation gate. Qinyan suddenly felt that he can create a tribulation gate for Nethermoon. That is to let Nethermoon fuse with the reincarnation gate. Of course, he only has this idea. He doesn't dare to do it now. He wants to wait for Yang Shuriwei to come out and discuss it with her. Like if he succeeds, then he will be able to control the reincarnation gate more freely and skillfully. He will certainly be able to use it better than the reincarnation gate. Qinyan is currently refining the reincarnation gate. So long as he can wash away the mental power of imperial samsara, he will be able to obtain another heavenly divine tool. He has a deep understanding of how powerful heavenly divine tools are. Transformed before Dan Heavenly Furnace became a heavenly divine tool, it was restricted everywhere. It could not refine many divine cosmos golden stones, or it would become hot after being used for a long time. Like now, he can use the pill transformation heavenly furnace to refine even more good materials. The premise is that he has enough divine cosmos golden stones to maintain the pill transformation heavenly furnace. After all, it is a heavenly divine tool. It requires a lot of divine cosmos golden stones. There is another heavenly divine tool. It is the Star Dome divine mirror. He can't refine it himself, so he let Star God do it. Like this, he thought that after Star God started refining, she has been trapped inside and still hasn't come out yet. At first, she only held it in her hand to refine it and talk to Qinyan. Later on, her entire body entered the Star Dome divine mirror. Qinyan still can't contact her. He only knows that her situation is good. I wonder how Big Sister Star God is doing. I should go ask Xiao Tian. While Qinyan is refining the reincarnation gate, he can't help but think about Star Dome divine mirror and Star God. Yu Shutian is Star God's avatar, but her soul has not been connected with Star God. She is still an independent consciousness. Qinyan took out the Star Dome divine mirror. It is also very mysterious. He doesn't know why Star God has been trapped inside for so long. Could it be that this Star Dome divine mirror is very strong and Big Sister Star God needs even more time to refine it? Yin missed that alluring long-legged Star God very much. Out of all the alluring spirits he knew, Star God was the one he spent the least time with. Qinyan Chang sighed, then put away the Star Dome divine mirror. He somewhat regretted letting the Star God come into contact with the Star Dome divine mirror, causing him to be unable to see this charming demon for such a long time. He put away the Star Dome divine mirror and continued to purify the reincarnation gate. After half a day, the double space suddenly shook. Qinyan opened his eyes and looked around. He realized that the second layer space had become much larger and the edges were expanding. And after the tremor just now, the power of the divine sun in the second layer space suddenly increased by a lot. Could it be that the Nine-Yang Kuan Peng has evolved? Qinyan immediately stopped his refinement. Also at this moment, Yang Shuryu suddenly flew out from the white ball of light in the double space. Yang Shuryu also hastily put on a long robe and flew out. Through the thin, long robe, her beautiful curves could be vaguely seen. Sister Yang, what's wrong? Asked Qinyan. He seen Yang Shuryu's long hair draped over her shoulders and her body wrapped in a simple robe. One could tell what kind of process she had gone through to learn the Sun Moon Heart Sutra from Zi Qingsheng and the others. It seems like the Kuan Peng has successfully evolved. Yang Shuryu looked around and said with a smile, I thought something had happened. She landed at the top of the reincarnation gate and stood beside Qinyan. She took off her robe and changed into a white long skirt. She said with a smile, "Let's go out and take a look. Where's Sister Steam Bun and the others?" Qin Yun looked at the core in the middle of the double space. "They're waiting for me inside. Don't worry, your Sister Steam Bun will be fine." Yang Shiyu smiled leisurely. She casually tied up her long hair and pulled Qin Yun out of the double space and arrived outside the core. Giant, the big nine Yang Kuan Peng has indeed disappeared. "Big fish, big fish," Qin Yun shouted. "Uncle Qin, Sister Yang." Suddenly, a golden and dazzling beast that looks like a small whale flew over. Body its size is not very big, only the size of calf. This is the nine Yang Kuan Peng that almost filled the entire 5 Divine Sunday. Now it has become so small. Qin Yun immediately informed Yang Yang of this news. Yang Yang is very anxious. She is currently inside the White Divine Sun, exploring the White Divine Sun totem with Mo. She can't leave at all. She really wants to come out and tease that big fish. "Big fish, can't you transform into human form?" Qin Yun smiled and stroked the cute nine Yang Kuan Peng. He wants to absorb it into the nine Sun divine spirit even more. However, he knew that if he really abducted the nine Yang Kuan Peng, he would definitely be chased and bitten by the Imperial Demon. "I thought I could, but after the evolution, the nine Yang Dharma spirit told me that if I transform into human form, it will affect my mental state in the future. The nine Yang Dharma spirit told me to maintain the Kuan Peng form." The nine Yang Kuan Peng said, "Big fish, did the nine Yang Dharma spirit tell you to do anything?" Yang Shiyu asked. The divine maiden mission she received was precisely what the nine Yang Dharma spirit told her to do. "Yes, the nine Yang Dharma spirit told me to go to the 4 divine suns to find my master, Sister Yao Yao. I want to go now. I'll give you to her." Yang Shiyu also stroked the nine Yang Kuan Peng's head. She did not expect that the incomparably huge nine Yang Kuan Peng could become so small. "Thank you, big Sister Yang." The nine Yang Kuan Peng very politely thanked her. "Big fish, you must be careful inside the 4 divine suns. There are many bad people inside," Qin Yun said. The nine Yang Kuan Peng used a child's voice and said with a rather proud smile, "Uncle Qin, I'm not afraid of any bad people now." "That's true," Qin Yun said with a smile. "I will send you there right now." Yang Shiyu's mind moved. She can control the core to release divine power and open a passage to the 4 divine suns. "Uncle Qin, Sister Yang, goodbye," the nine Yang Kuan Peng said. Nine Yang Kuan Peng disappeared in a short while. The inside of the 5 divine suns is completely empty. There is a huge fireball in the middle. Inside previously, this fireball was very small, especially when compared to the huge Kuan Peng. It looked very small. Now the Kuan Peng is no longer here, yet looks so huge. The inside of the 5 divine suns is really strange. The inner and outer regions have merged together. It is actually so big. Qin Yun sighed and said, "Xiao Yun, the 5 divine suns are very strange. I don't know what will happen in the future." Yang Shiyu pulled Qin Yun and then returned to the second layer space inside the core. After entering, Qin Yun recalled something and said in amazement, "Sister Yang, you just left the core?" "That's right, I could have left. I already said that the 5 divine suns are very special. They are not like the other divine suns of the myriad realms." Chapter 27:14. Yang Shiryu has not finished learning the latest Sun and Moon Heart Sutra. Because the 9 Sun Kuan Peng's evolution caused quite a commotion, she came out to take a look. When she saw the reincarnation gate, she felt very curious. Then, she recalled that Ling Yun mentioned the reincarnation gate. "This is the reincarnation gate," Qin Yun said with a smile. "I am currently purifying it. Big Sister Yang, wait for me to finish, then help me purify it again. This way, it will be more thorough." "No problem. But can you really master the reincarnation gate?" Yun said that you need to learn the reincarnation heavenly art. Yang Shiryu asked. "The reincarnation gate's ability is not as magical as the legends say. I just discovered it. Qin Yun simply explained his discovery of the reincarnation gate. After Yang Shi Yu finished listening, she also knew what was going on. Then, she flew into the large light ball and continued to learn the latest Sun and Moon Heart Sutra. Qin Yun continued to purify the reincarnation gate. Yuluan Hui is still wailing in grief. At first, Yuluan Hui said all kinds of vicious words and threatened Qin Yun. But later, he gradually felt that his soul imprint inside the reincarnation gate is being purified bit by bit. He became even more afraid and didn't dare to say any vicious words. Qin Yun is not afraid of his threats at all, because Yuluan Hui's most powerful reincarnation gate has fallen into Qin Yun's hands. Then, Yuluan Hui has nothing to fear. Qin Yun, you can't destroy my soul anyways, and I, Yuluan Hui, am such a powerful person. Don't you think it's a waste to stay inside the reincarnation gate like this? Yuluan Hui realized that he has lost his momentum and is powerless to reverse the situation. He can only face reality. What? You want to rely on me? Qin Yun said with a smile. But Yuluan Hui, without the reincarnation gate, you are nothing. If you want to be my slave, I'm afraid you are not qualified. Yuluan Hui almost exploded in anger. He originally negotiated with Qin Yun in a good manner. This was considered as lowering his voice and thinking that he could become Qin Yun's right-hand man. But, yes, in Qin Yun's eyes, he is not even qualified to be a slave. Am I wrong? With trash like you, what use do you have? Qin Yun chuckled and said. Qin Yun, Yuluan wanted to retort, but he carefully thought about it. His fleshly body was destroyed, and the strongest reincarnation gate was in Qin Yun's hands. Yu Samsara was filled with regret. If he had known that Qin Yun was so difficult to deal with, he definitely would not have had the thought of attacking Qin Yun. Now, this was what he deserved. It was already good enough that his soul was still alive. Yuluan Hui, actually your soul still has some value. Qin Yun's words made Yuluan Hui secretly happy. Yuluan Hui had lived for so many years, he didn't think his life would end like this. Only if he could see the light of day again, he might even agree to be his servant. You should have heard of the soul lost dew, right? I will use soul lost dew on your soul, and your powerful soul will turn into a blank soul. Then I can use your soul to refine souls. Qin Yun said with a smile. Or I could devour your soul to strengthen my own soul. You devil. Yuluan Hui's terrified voice arrived. He didn't doubt Qin Yun's words at all, because he thought of the 7 dragon-head assassins. The reason why the 7 dragon-head assassins were controlled was because their soul's consciousness and memories were erased. That's why they became puppets. Of course, Yuluan Hui heard of the soul lost dew. The law enforcers and heavenly secret sect told him about it. In order to prevent the soul lost dew from spreading, they didn't hesitate to pay a heavy price and destroyed a highly toxic divine Sunday. Qin Yun deliberately said it to scare Yuluan Hui. Seeing Yuluan Hui's reaction, he felt very comfortable in his heart. In fact, as long as it is someone with a mortal soul, knowing that the soul lost dew is going to be used on them, they would have this kind of reaction. Yuluan Hui, I am very interested in the Imperial Heavenly Talisman. The Imperial Heavenly Talisman you gave to your son is in my hands, but it will be used up very soon. Qin Yun sighed and said, What a pity this talisman is not the kind that can be used repeatedly. Because the Imperial Life Talisman could be used repeatedly, he thought that the Imperial Life Talisman could be used as well. He didn't expect that, after trying it out, it couldn't be replenished. As long as the Imperial Life Talisman was pasted onto the Bloodline Heavenly Pattern box, and then placed into the box filled with Divine Universe Goldstones, it would gradually recover its energy and could be used repeatedly. The desperate Yuluan Hui suddenly saw hope. He quickly said, I can help you get the secret method to make the Imperial Heavenly Talisman. Yun Xiao said, Then do you want me to let you go? Of course, if you don't let me go, how can I help you get the secret method to create the Heavenly Talisman? Yuluan Hui said, Not just the Imperial Transformation Talisman. The Yu clan has 5 great talismans. I can help you get the other 4. The ancient clan's heavenly talismans were still very powerful. because they were created by fusing their bloodline heavenly patterns. After I release you, what if you make a comeback and seek revenge on me? Qin Yun said with a smile. Do you think I will release my enemy and find trouble for myself? Luan Hui sighed. Revenge breeds revenge. Will there ever be an end to it? I indeed sent the Black Dragon assassins to capture you. It was indeed my fault. Booty also paid a great price for it. And you already have my reincarnation gate. You can also get the method to make the 5 great talismans. No matter how you look at it, is still a profit. Can you really guarantee that you can get the secret method to make the 5 great talismans? Qin Yun used the Imperial Transformation Talisman and Imperial Life Talisman. He knew that the Yu clan's heavenly talismans were very useful. He originally wanted to ask Yao Yao to get it, but he was afraid of dragging her down, so he didn't say anything. If Luan Hui could do this, it would be very good. You and I both know the power of a soul contract. If you are afraid that I will take revenge, we can sign a soul contract, and I will also guarantee that I will get the 5 great talismans. Luan Hui said. He is now holding onto a life-saving straw. It is also the only way for him to survive. He doesn't want to miss the great era of the Divine Desolate. Many experts who fell at Qin Yun's hands also think the same way, so they can only submit to Qin Yun. Qin Yun didn't say that he wants to sign a soul contract, but Luan Hui mentioned it first. It means that he is willing to accept all conditions. All right, wait patiently. I am inside the 5 divine suns. Wait for me to come out. I will make arrangements for you. Qin Yun is very satisfied with Luan Hui's performance. Chapter 27:15. Qin Yun wasn't aware of this matter, but when he recalled that those bigwigs had come to the heavenly mandate sacred land at about the same time, it meant that they had indeed gone to the 5 divine suns together. Is that so? Why can't they enter the 5 divine suns? Asked Qin Yun. Our ancient clan's emperor only said that they tried many methods, but couldn't get in. Luan Hui said. Qin Yun's refinement of the reincarnation gate has already entered the late stage. Luan Hui can also sense it from inside the reincarnation gate. He can only sigh inwardly. Oh right, other than the reversal heavenly talisman, what are the other 4 heavenly talismans of the ancient Yu clan? What abilities do they have? Asked Qin Yun. Luan Hui hurriedly replied. Other than the Imperial Reversal Talisman, there's also the Imperial Dragon Talisman. This is specially used to deal with dragons. The soul-driving heavenly talisman was used to seal souls. It had a very strong, instantaneous, suppressive ability towards powerful souls. Then there was the poison resistance heavenly talisman, which could resist all kinds of poisons. The last one is called the Heavenly Talisman of Imperial Majesty. The main ability of the Heavenly Talisman of Imperial Majesty is to attract male creatures and make them unable to stop themselves. I don't want Imperial Majesty Heavenly Talisman. I want the other 4. Qin Yun immediately interrupted Luan Hui and asked, why do you have Imperial Majesty Heavenly Talisman? What kind of people usually use it? There's an old woman in our ancient Yu clan who uses the Heavenly Talisman of Imperial Majesty to seduce men. It's mainly for cultivation, you know? Luan Hui cursed in a low voice. I was almost seduced by her, that damned old hag. She wouldn't even let her own kind go. What? She used the Imperial Majesty Heavenly Talisman on you? Qin Yun said in astonishment. Oh right. Did you marry the same race? Of course, intermarriage. Although we are of the same race, our bloodlines are very different, so it can't be considered a family relationship. Luan Hui suddenly said angrily, that damned old hag. She failed to use the talisman on me, but she set her eyes on my son Yong Yao. Qin Yun was taken aback as he hurriedly asked, wait, Yong Yao has been targeted by that old woman? The Heavenly Talisman of Majesty was used on him? Yes, my son was humiliated by that old woman for 7 days and 7 nights. Later on, I found a soul refiner to erase Yong Yao's memories from these 7 days. Said Luan Hui. Qin Yun was secretly astonished. The world was vast and filled with all sorts of wonders. That Heavenly Talisman of Majesty. Only that old woman has it? Or do all of you have it? Asked Qin Yin. In the ancient Yu clan, other than the clan emperor, there are 10 clan elders, also known as elders. In short, they're all the same. Us elders can look up the method to make the 5 heavenly talismans, but whether or not we can make them depends on our own abilities. Yu Luanhui said. Doesn't that mean that many people in your ancient Yu clan possess the Imperial Majesty Heavenly Talisman? Qin Yin suddenly felt a little afraid. If he was targeted by an old woman, it would be serious. Not everyone can make the 5 great heavenly talismans. I used a lot of resources to create this Imperial Heavenly Talisman. I rarely use it. Yu Luanhui said, some of the elders spent a lot of manpower and resources to focus on one type of talisman. They were both exhausted. I don't have the extra energy to study the other heavenly talismans. So that's how it is. The Imperial Majesty Heavenly Talisman isn't very useful, so very few people put in the effort to study it. Qin Yin nodded and said, yes, only that old woman knows how to make the Imperial Majesty Heavenly Talisman. Luckily, she has already been expelled from the ancient Yu clan. Yu Luanhui said, Qin Yin has used the Imperial Majesty Heavenly Talisman and the Imperial Life Heavenly Talisman, but he is only a user, so he doesn't know how difficult it is to make them. Hearing Yu Luanhui's words, it must be very difficult. Oh, that's right. I heard from Yu Songyuan that your ancient Yu clan has 10 great heavenly talismans. Why are there only 5 when it comes to you? Asked Qin Yin. Yu Songyuan? Yu Yaoyao's cousin? He even sent out a distress signal before. Could it be? Yu Luanhui said in amazement. He wanted to steal my Divine King Heavenly Seal and Bloodline Heavenly Rune, so he fell in my hands. Tell me about the 10 great heavenly talismans, Qin Yin said with smile. Yu Luanhui groaned in low voice. Yu Song, that idiot, the 5 strongest heavenly talismans have been lost. Why are they lost? Qin Yin knows that the lost heavenly talismans are the strongest, mainly because they are too difficult to master. No one can completely master the 5 great heavenly talismans. Everyone only has one, and they are not willing to teach it to others. Over time, the people who have mastered the 5 great heavenly talismans all disappeared, so they are gone. Yu Luanhui sighed and said, otherwise, our ancient Yu clan would be even stronger. The Imperial Life Heavenly Talisman that Qin Yin obtained appeared in a mysterious palace in ancient Desolate. Heaven Exterminator obtained the Imperial Life Heavenly Talisman from that palace and was able to escape from that dreadful palace. It is unknown what kind of palace it is. Even the experts of ancient Yu clan were attracted there and couldn't come out. What kind of power do the 5 lost heavenly talismans have? Qin Yin is very curious. Having the Imperial Life Heavenly Talisman is already not bad, but ancient Yu clan doesn't even have one. I only know about the Imperial Life Heavenly Talisman and the Imperial Beast Heavenly Talisman. I don't know about the other 3, Yu Luanhui said. The Imperial Beast Heavenly Talisman is very similar to the Imperial Dragon Heavenly Talisman. It can be said that the Imperial Beast Heavenly Talisman is the higher-level version of the Imperial Dragon Heavenly Talisman. Qin Yin recalled Yu Yaoyao calling herself Heavenly Sovereign Imperial Beast and asked. Yaoyao said she's Heavenly Sovereign Imperial Beast. Furthermore, she has a Kuanpeng. Is it related to the Imperial Beast Heavenly Talisman? Of course it's related. This little girl has a beast-taming heavenly talisman, the only one in our Yu ancient clan. She wouldn't hand it over no matter what, so there's nothing we can do. Yu Luanhui said, this is the only one of the 5 lost heavenly talismans. I don't know where she got it. Qin Yin never expected that Imperial Yaoyao would have such a good thing in her hands. It's no wonder she has a powerful Kuanpeng. He was secretly glad that Yu Yaoyao did not have the heavenly talisman of Imperial Majesty with her. Otherwise, he would be in trouble. Qin Yin is now even more expectant. He wants to see those secret techniques. It will help him understand bloodline heavenly runes. It did not take long for Qin Yin to finish his purification. He will wait for Yang Shuriyue to purify it again. Then he can start refining the reincarnation gate and control it. At that time, he will be able to use this heavenly divine tool. Boss Qin, you have to pay attention to one guy. It's that Yuan Long. He has the Imperial Dragon Heavenly Talisman. I am afraid even Dragon Race is somewhat afraid of him. Yulun Hui can still communicate with Qin Yun. After all, he is very familiar with the Reincarnation Gate. Chapter 27:16. Qin Yun naturally knows that Yu family's Heavenly Talisman was created based on Bloodline Heavenly Rune, but he still doesn't believe it. He said, "Can the Imperial Dragon Heavenly Talisman really restrain the Heavenly Dragon Race? The All Heavens Dragon Race is very strong now." Yulun Hui was quite proud of the power of these talismans. After all, it was the glory of their race. He smiled. As long as they have the blood of a dragon, they will be restrained by the Imperial Dragon Talisman. No matter what kind of dragon they are, they have dragon blood running through their veins. Really? This piqued Qin Yun's curiosity. All Heaven's Dragon Race appeared because of the ancestral dragon's bloodline Heavenly Rune. The Imperial Dragon Talisman also had bloodline heavenly patterns. If the Imperial Dragon Heavenly Talisman could restrain the Dragon Clan's bloodline heavenly patterns, it meant that the talisman's bloodline heavenly patterns could restrain the Dragon Clan's bloodline heavenly patterns. In other words, bloodline heavenly patterns could restrain each other. Is it true that only Yuan Long can research how to craft Imperial Dragon Heavenly Talisman? Then can you? If you can master it, there is no need to fear Heavenly Dragon Race. Qin Yun asked. If the other elders are willing to spend time to research it, they should be able to succeed. However, it will definitely take a lot of time and a lot of investment. Yulun Hui said, "Back then, no one was optimistic about the future usage of the talisman, but Yuan Long recognized it. That's why he wanted to get the Imperial Dragon Heavenly Talisman." Qin Yun nodded and said, when the dragon race was in a state of disunity, they were not strong at all. They also didn't need any Imperial Dragon Heavenly Talisman. Yulun Hui sighed. That's right. We were all short-sighted. If we knew that such a powerful dragon clan would be born, we would definitely do our best to research and create the Imperial Dragon Heavenly Talisman. In that case, among the 5 great heavenly talismans that have not been lost, the Imperial Transformation Heavenly Talisman, Imperial Poison Heavenly Talisman, and Imperial Soul Heavenly Talisman are the most popular. Qin Yun already knows the effects of these 3 heavenly talismans. They are all very useful. Because Yuan Long has the Imperial Dragon Heavenly Talisman, he created a large group of dragon killers. Those dragon killers are all dragon men, and they are under Yuan Long's control. Yulun Hui said, "The reason why I was able to mobilize 2 groups of black dragon assassins was because of this Imperial Reincarnation Talisman. I got it." Then will the dragons know about the Imperial Dragon Heavenly Talisman? Qin Yun said with a frown. If they know, will Yuan Long be in trouble? Yulun Hui sneered. Yuan Long is a very cunning guy. He has a lot of Imperial Dragon Heavenly Talismans in his hands. If we really anger him, the ones who will be in trouble will be the All Heavens Dragon Race. Qin Yun is still somewhat worried, so he feels that it is necessary to quickly release Yulun Hui so that he can get those Yu Clan Heavenly Talisman secret manuals. Otherwise, if the All Heavens Dragon Clan found out, they might negotiate with the ancient Yu Clan to forbid them from passing on the talismans. He had already purified the gate of reincarnation. He opened it again and let his soul enter to sign a soul contract with Yulun Hui. This soul contract was similar to Xian Shazi's. It was a master-servant contract, but Yulun Hui himself would have a certain say. Qin Yun came to the outside of the 5th Divine Sun and released Yulun Hui's soul back to the Yu Ancient Clan. As long as Yulun Hui's soul can return, he can quickly reconstruct his body. Although his body will not be very strong, he can still use it. Qin Yun is secretly alarmed. The strength of the heaven-opening ancient clan seems to be the same as the descendants of the Divine Sun. Once the body of the descendants of the Divine Sun is destroyed, as long as they return to the Divine Sun, they can immediately be reborn. After Qin Yun's Divine King Heavenly Seal was refined by Yang Shuriwe, he can also use it to enter the 5th Divine Sunday. He is still outside. After contacting Xian Shazi and Yu Yao Yao and other people inside the four divine sons, he also inquired about the situation with the divine judge. After knowing that Xie Wufeng has already woken up, he felt a lot more at ease. The divine judge has already begun to take action. He wants to rope in the god-position gods of the myriad realms' divine court. After Qin Yin returned to the second layer space, he rested for a few days. In these few days, he has been waiting for news from Mo, waiting for her to take out the white god Yang totem, but she is still in seclusion. Yang said that she has already extracted the white god Yang totem, but it has not fused with her soul. In the past few days, the transformation stage purple ginseng has already matured. Qin Yin can take a few dozen seeds and use them to plant. After he planted it in the divine Yang heavenly soil, he began to refine the transformation stage purple ginseng into a pill. This process is extremely fast. After absorbing the energy of the divine universe golden stone, the pill transformation heavenly furnace can quickly condense the transformation stage purple ginseng into a pill. Fortunately, Qin Yun has many divine universe golden stones in his hands, allowing the pill transformation heavenly furnace to absorb enough. He originally planned to guide the energy of the divine sun into the pill transformation heavenly furnace, but he realized that the effect was not as good as using the divine universe golden stone. So he directly used the divine universe golden stone. After Qin Yun ate the transformation stage purple pill, he released the Nanyang heaven raising pagoda and entered it to refine it. His current cultivation is only at the early stage of the Divine Heaven Lord. It is still at the very beginning stage. In the Divine Heaven Lord stage, it is mainly to cultivate the Divine Tao Heavenly Pill. Generally speaking, even those experts, they would at most have 6 or 7 Divine Tao Heavenly Pills. Therefore, after they finish cultivating, there would at most be 6 or 7 Divine Star Heavenly Lords. However, the highest divine heaven lord is 10 divine star heavenly lords. This caused Qin Yun to feel very puzzled. Therefore, he suspects that the people who call themselves 10 divine star heavenly lords might all have cultivated to the peak of 7 divine Tao heavenly pills and are unable to break through. According to his classification, only people who possess 10 divine Tao heavenly pills can become true 10 divine Tao heavenly lords. In other words, he will be in the divine heaven lord realm for a long time. Let's see how effective this transformation stage purple ginseng is in the divine heaven lord realm. Qin Yun entered the refining stage. He doesn't know much about the divine heaven lord realm. He is currently operating the imperial heaven divine art to refine it and then guide it into the divine Tao heavenly pill. The first divine Tao heavenly pill he cultivated was the heavenly lion divine Tao heavenly pill. The appearance of a dragon race made him very wary of this strong race. The heavenly lion Tao image is stronger, so when he uses the heavenly lion dragon suppressing cauldron to fight against strong dragons, it will have a better effect. The imperial heaven divine art combined with the nether sun to refine the pill is very fast. It is also because the Tao image and the divine Tao heavenly pill have a certain degree of connection. Therefore, the heavenly lion divine Tao heavenly pill can borrow the nether sun's devouring power to quickly absorb the transformation stage purple pill's medicinal power. What's going on? Why do I have a bad feeling? Qin Yun's expression changed. This feeling is very familiar, but also very distant. It is a feeling of fear that he felt many years ago. Is it tribulation power? Qin Yun is secretly apprehensive. He never heard of divine heaven lord having to go through tribulation. He immediately rushed out of the 9-sun heaven raising pagoda and released the heavenly lion Tao image's sacred tribulation gate. The tribulation gate has become very violent. Could it be because my Tao image and divine Tao heavenly pill are inside the tribulation gate? Qin Yun looked at the tribulation gate and felt a very oppressive feeling. He wants to vent it out. Chapter 27:17. There are many people who have Sacred Tribulation Gate. And when they enter the divine Heaven Lord realm, Qin Yin doesn't know if the divine Tao Heavenly Pill will have pill tribulation. This was because very few people were willing to share their cultivation situation in the Shintian realm. Furthermore, he had never asked about it. Qin Yin looked at the trembling sacred tribulation gate and took out the magic mirror to contact Yang Shiyue. Yang Shiyue also had a magic mirror in her hand. She was currently cultivating with Zi, Qin Sheng, and the others. It was unknown if she could talk to Qin Yin. Sister Yang, I've encountered some problems with my cultivation. Is it convenient for you to talk to me now? Asked Qin Yin. After he asked, he waited patiently for a moment. Yang Shiyue's voice came over. Is the problem serious? If it's not serious, then I don't need to go out. Qin Yin told them about the problems he encountered. After Yang Shiyue finished listening, she said, it's the divine Tao Heavenly Pill's pill tribulation. As long as we pass through the pill tribulation, it will be fine. The power of the pill tribulation mainly comes from the holy tribulation gate. Is that so? Should I go in? Somehow, I feel that I should go inside. Qin Yin can sense the sacred tribulation gate, so he has an intense feeling that he wants to enter the sacred tribulation gate. If you really want to go in, then go in and take a look. With your current strength, you don't have to worry about anything. Generally speaking, pill tribulation is very easy to pass. Yang Shiyue said, under what circumstances will the divine Tao Heavenly Pill have pill tribulation? Qin Yin has already decided to go in and take a look. As long as your Tao image has the sacred tribulation gate, the divine Tao Heavenly Core cultivated by that Tao image must undergo tribulation within the tribulation gate. Yang Shiyue said, all right, I'll enter the Holy Calamity Gate to take a look. Qin Yin has not entered the Sacred Tribulation Gate many times. The last time he entered was the Sacred Tribulation Gate where Nether Sun resides. The inside of the gate is very big and mysterious. He put away the demonic mirror and controlled the Holy Gate of Tribulation to open a crack. After the crack appeared, the robbery power that was exploding from within rushed out from the crack. It was like a blue blade of air, extremely cutting. Qin Yin welcomed the powerful energy and entered the Tribulation Gate. Then he controlled the Sacred Tribulation Gate to close. After entering, the inside was filled with blue flames. All sorts of wild lightning flames were roaring crazily attacking a giant blue lion. Qin Yin cultivates the Heavenly Lion Tao image, and the divine Tao Heavenly Core is inside the Tao image. Now the entire Tao image and the divine Tao Heavenly Core are facing the formidable tribulation power. This blue divine power is very similar to the celestial divine sun's divine power. Qin Yin is at the edge of the gigantic blue space. The heavenly lion is in the middle, letting out a series of ferocious roars. Earlier, Qin Yin had lost contact with the heavenly lion Tao image and could not sense the heavenly lion at all. But recently, he finally sensed it. Although the heavenly lion Tao image was not a real heavenly lion, it was not the kind with flesh and blood. However, when Qin Yin looked at it now, he felt that the heavenly lion was extremely powerful and real. It was lifelike, just like a real heavenly lion divine beast. Little Ming, this should be the nether realm heavenly lion that I summoned. I always have this feeling, and this is also my own heavenly lion. Qin Yin clenched his fists and said in his heart, Little Ming, you will definitely survive this great tribulation. Originally, Qin Yun's heavenly lion dragon suppressing cauldron needed the heavenly lion king to unleash its strongest power. And now, he has his own heavenly lion Tao image, and it has evolved to a very powerful level. Therefore, he can make his Tao image cooperate with the heavenly lion dragon suppressing cauldron. He often placed the heavenly lion dragon suppressing cauldron inside the heavenly universe divine sun, divine universe purple sun, and other divine suns to temper it. The heavenly lion's body is covered in blue flame. It is fighting against all kinds of thunder tribulation and fire tribulation. It is very brave and fierce. It is not afraid of all kinds of tribulation power. Instead, it can absorb tribulation power to strengthen itself. Especially after Qin Yun entered the tribulation gate, the heavenly lion became even stronger. Heavenly lion totem runes appeared on its body. Qin Yun stared at the heavenly lion divine beast's totem runes. His pupils cannot help but shrink. He is secretly startled. He did not expect that the heavenly lion totem runes would evolve on their own. He opened his heavenly eye and made an even more astonishing discovery. The totem runes on the heavenly lion's body are a large number of bright runes. These bright runes are all connected to the heavenly lion's heart. The heavenly lion's heart is the divine Tao heavenly core. The divine Tao heavenly core is flickering with blue light and condensing a large number of runes. The number of runes is increasing unceasingly. Moreover, they're interweaving together and forming a ball. The divine Tao heavenly core is becoming bigger bit by bit. And the reason why the divine Tao heavenly core is becoming bigger is because there are more and more runes. Qin Yun immediately noticed something and became startled in his heart. His heavenly rune, the heavenly lion totem, is evolving into a heavenly rune. Qin Yun really did not expect that the divine Tao heavenly core would be a kind of heavenly rune. Every time the heavenly lion suffers from tribulation power, the totem runes on its body will change. It is as if they are evolving. This is a kind of Tao evolution. While evolving, the runes are also growing. Very good. This is a totem heavenly rune. It is very rare. I did not expect it to evolve by itself. Qin Yun has been controlling the heavenly lion totem for many years. It has been continuously strengthening during this time. Previously, it was Mo who helped Qin Yun evolve it to a new height. Roar! The heavenly lion let out a heart-shaking heavenly lion heavenly roar, and the tribulation power inside the tribulation gate completely dissipated. The heavenly lion has successfully crossed tribulation, and the divine Tao heavenly core has transformed into a complete totem heavenly rune. Heavenly lion totem heavenly rune. This caused Qin Yun to be extremely excited. I wonder how strong the heavenly lion totem heavenly rune is. I wonder if my totem martial arts will become stronger because of this. Qin Yun is extremely happy in his heart. He chose to cultivate the heavenly lion divine Tao heavenly core first. This is very clear. If he can use the heavenly lion totem heavenly rune and heavenly lion martial arts, he will have even stronger battle strength when facing the powerful dragons of the heavens. The heavenly lion is sitting in the middle of the tribulation gate space after crossing tribulation. It suddenly became very big, like a huge mountain. Now, the heavenly lion looks like a statue carved out of huge sapphire. It is calmly looking at Qin Yun from the tribulation gate space. Very good. Very soon we'll be able to fight side by side. Qin Yun said with smile. Xiao Ming, thank you for staying by my side for so many years. The heavenly lion let out a mighty and powerful roar. Its whole body is filled with dreadful power. It is as if it is telling Qin Yun that it is ready to fight at any time. Qin Yun walked out of the sacred tribulation gate and discovered that there is a heavenly lion carving on the gate frame. It is fused with many heavenly lion totem runes. It looks very mysterious and solemn. Chapter 27:18. Ever since Kuan Peng left the fifth divine sun, the entire divine desolate can feel that the divine power released by the fifth divine sun is extremely powerful. The fifth divine sun was born not long ago, but the divine power it is releasing is comparable to four divine suns. Want before, the fifth divine sun gave people a lifeless feeling, but now it is bursting with vitality. The sudden increase in divine power caused the entire divine desolate to be filled with jubilation. After all, the stronger the divine sun is, the more benefits it will bring to the living beings of divine desolate. It will allow them to improve faster, allow all kinds of medicinal herbs to grow faster, and allow the divine desolate to produce even more rare treasures. This is mainly because the fifth divine sun's internal structure is different. It is not like the other myriad worlds' divine sun lands, which have two inner and outer regions. Also, inside the fifth divine sun's inner core, there is another inner core. Because of Yang Shiryu, there are many spaces inside the inner core. If there are 9 spaces inside the inner core, then there will be many more inner cores. When many inner cores combine together, the divine power released is even more terrifying. After Qin Yun came out of the sacred tribulation gate, he can feel the valiant divine power of the fifth divine Sunday. However, he knows that no matter how powerful the divine power of the 9 divine sons of divine desolate is, it is impossible for him to mobilize them all. Qin Yun can mobilize a portion of the myriad world's divine sun's power through the divine King Heavenly Seal. This is already very good. It can bring him great power, so he is very satisfied. He looked at the 9 sun divine spirit on his wrist. If he wants to be truly powerful, he must have his own 9 divine sons. Moreover, they must be different types. I am now a 1-star divine heavenly monarch. Qin Yun looked at his 2 fingers and pointed forward, condensing a powerful finger power. This can be said to be a casual finger power, but it contains a very dreadful tribulation power. This kind of might is like the descent of heavenly tribulation. If the Tao image and divine Tao heavenly core can successfully pass tribulation inside the tribulation gate, does that mean they can also produce tribulation power? Qin Yun secretly guessed. If that's the case, then won't I be able to release even stronger tribulation power through the 9-sun world extermination scripture? Now only one divine Tao heavenly core has tribulation power, the other 9 don't. His tribulation power is not very strong. If I have 2 more divine Tao heavenly pills, the tribulation power I can release will be even stronger. Qin Yun is very excited because this tribulation power is very suitable for using 9-sun world extermination scripture. He was waiting for the transcendent purple ginseng to mature. If they matured and were all refined into pills, he would be able to break through 2 realms and become a 3-star celestial heavenly monarch. While waiting, he began to integrate the cultivation techniques he had mastered, combining them with the inscription do technique and imperial heaven divine technique, making those cultivation techniques even stronger. In the past, when he used it, he would temporarily combine them, but because it was a spur of the moment, even though he could combine them and unleash great power, it was still not good enough. Yang Shiryu suggested that he try to figure out a better way to combine them and create the strongest technique that belonged to him. Qin Yun knew that this kind of thing could not be rushed, so he would not rush to do it in one go. He would slowly perfect it. After all, the future was long. In his opinion, one didn't necessarily need to master a lot of techniques, but they had to be proficient in them. It would be best if one could defeat the enemy in one move, such as when facing a strong enemy. Releasing a few ultimate moves in a row would be able to intimidate the other party. This was not a bad thing. Within the 4th divine sun, those big shots did not leave, especially that great divine lord. Because now, everyone was waiting for the great divine lord to create that kind of stone creation divine tool. Qin Yun was the little divine king. If Qin Yun could create it, then the great divine lord would definitely be able to as well. Furthermore, there were also those stone creation divine tools that had failed to work as a reference, so everyone believed that the great divine lord would definitely succeed. As long as the great divine lord succeeded, they would be able to build their own city here. The divine power of the 4 divine sons was very mystical and powerful, especially its ability to corrode all kinds of powerful materials. Just this point alone was enough for the group of big shots to study. Because as long as one could grasp this kind of divine power and use it in battle, they would be able to destroy other people's divine weapons. The 9 sons Kuan Peng had already arrived at the 4th divine Sunday. He came here quietly. When he was outside the 4th divine sun, he called out Yu Yao Yao. After Yao Yao saw the 9 sons Kuan Peng shrink, she was also very happy. This way, when she released the Kuan Peng in the future, it wouldn't cause too much of a commotion. She put the 9 sons Kuan Peng into the mirror and then returned to the fourth divine Sunday. Yu Yaoyao originally wanted to be with Ling Daixin, but was called away by her father. Danti people don't know, but Yu Xingyu knows that his daughter has the beast-taming heavenly talisman. That beast-taming heavenly talisman is very precious, so he has to look after his daughter and not let her be harmed by others. Ling Daixin, Ling Taiyun, and a few elders of the Ling family are together. They are in a dilapidated, small building. This small building was originally good, and its defensive power is very strong. However, within the four divine sons, after a few days, the outside began to rot. Little in a hall of the building, a few elders of the Ling family and Ling Taiyun are looking at Ling Daixin. Daixin, you've successfully hooked Qin Yun. Now, you have to quickly find him. An old man said, if he falls into the hands of the great divine lord or some other old fellow, then we will suffer a great loss. Ling Daixin is a great heaven war god. Her bewitching divine art is very strong. So those elders believe that Qin Yun has fallen for her bewitching divine art. Ling Daixin rolled her eyes and said, I've said it many times, I really didn't succeed. Qin Yun's willpower is very strong. He is not moved at all. He didn't like me, but our relationship is pretty good. Pretty good relationship? Then he's interested in you? A handsome and elegant man? Pu Fai festering corpse Luo, Komei quietly frowning and retreating? Grave unbearable thin no matter what. You have to have a good relationship with Qin Yun. Even if you become his little slave, you have to rely on him. An old man said, when the time comes, only our Ling family will understand him the best. Ling said, Ling Daixin is somewhat unhappy, but she doesn't feel sad like before. At least this time, the mission given to her by the family was to deal with Qin Yun. She doesn't hate Qin Yun, but she feels that this mission is very difficult. Right now, everyone wants to capture Qin Yun. Even the Great Divine Lord is no exception. The Great Divine Lord is the master of our Emperor. Ling Daixin said in a low voice. The Great Divine Lord is the Great Divine Lord. We are us. It's not like master and disciple have fallen out, as long as it's beneficial to our Ling family. So what if it's the Great Divine Lord? The elder who looked rather old said with a sneer, Screw the Great Divine Lord. It's been so long, and he still hasn't produced a stone creation divine tool. Because they had heard that Qin Yun had invented a stone creation divine tool in a very short period of time, and he had even produced a large number of them. Chapter 2719. From a young age, Ling Daixin had been instilled with the greatest ideals of the family by this group of elders. For with the clan, he could disregard everything. Even if he offended the Great Divine Lord, he had to do it. This was also why the Ling family was able to become an emperor family within the Great Sky Divine race. If they didn't have this concept, they would definitely be suppressed by the other clans. I'm going to look for Yao Yao. Ling Daixin wanted to go out and get some fresh air. During this period of time, she was being watched very closely and couldn't move about freely. Wait, you are now regarded as Qin Yun's woman. What if they capture you and threaten you? Ling Taiyun immediately pulled Yu Yao Yao back and sternly said, You must stay within our line of sight. Don't run around. The venerable old man stroked his long beard and said with a nod, Daixin, you are Qin Yun's woman. The outside world also thinks so. So your current situation is very dangerous. Qin Yun has many women. Ling Daixin rolled her eyes helplessly. Who doesn't have a lot of women? But you're Ling Daixin, the daughter of my Ling family, as well as the great heavenly battle god. You're so much better than those women around him. Ling Taiyun sternly said, Daixin, you have to think of a way to stand out among his women and sit on the position of the main wife. The elders also nodded and expressed their willingness to provide the greatest help to make Ling Daixin Qin Yun's most beloved woman. His relationship with Yao Yao isn't bad. Do you think I can win against you, Yao Yao, who possesses the 9 sons Kunpun? Ling Daixin smiled faintly as she looked at Ling Taiyun. She knew that Ling Taiyun was interested in Yu Yao Yao. Why can't we compete? Our Daixin, in terms of beauty and strength, is not inferior to Yu Yao Yao. Aren't you just short of 9 sons Kunpun? Ling Taiyun curled his lips. Daixin, don't look at me like that. I gave up on pursuing you, Yao Yao. My father told me that this woman is not to be trifled with. He told me to keep a respectful distance from her. Only someone like Qin Yun, who is not afraid of death, would dare to go after her. Ling Daixin crossed her arms in front of her chest and leaned back on the chair with a smug look. She then crossed her legs and smilingly said, "You said that you'll support me, so you should at least show some sincerity, right? No matter what, I have to be better than Yao Yao. She has the 9 sons Kuan Peng, and I have nothing." The few elders looked at each other. They only knew that Yu Yao Yao was Ling Daixin's strongest competitor, and they had a good understanding of Yu Yao Yao. Think it was indeed very difficult for Ling Daixin to win against Yu Yao Yao. What do you think we should do to beat her? If you want to be favored by Qin Yun's women, what kind of conditions do you need? Asked the elder with the highest status. Qin Yun is a very strong inscription master. Do you have any objections? Ling Daixin asked. Qin Yun pretended to be Ling Daixin's personal inscription master and displayed an extremely terrifying inscription battle technique. In this hall, there was a Ling family elder who had been instantly bound by Qin Yun's inscription battle technique. It could be said that he had personally experienced it. At the elders present all nodded, not doubting it at all. He must like inscription. Don't we have the Tatian bloodline heavenly patterns? If you give me a Tatian bloodline heavenly pattern, he will be even more interested in me. Ling Daixin said. She is also very serious now, because she can sense that Qin Yun has no such thoughts toward her. Although he is helping her, it seems like he is only helping her because of Yu Yao Yao's face. I'll have to discuss it with Dad. Ling Taiyun looked at the old man and said, "This is very risky. What if you give him the Tatian bloodline heavenly rune, and you get nothing in the end? Wouldn't we suffer a great loss?" Ling Daixin sighed and said, "Then I have no other choice. To tell you the truth, even if I strip naked in front of Qin Yun, he might not even look at me. But if I have a Tatian bloodline heavenly pattern, it will be different. How did you Yao Yao attract him? Isn't your relationship with you, Yao Yao, very good? Ask her." Ling Taiyun said. Yu Yao Yao only said that she and Qin Yun are friends. There is no such relationship. If Qin Yun doesn't even like Yu Yao Yao, then he will even less like me. Ling Daixin spread her hands and said, "You want me to seduce Qin Yun, but you are not willing to give me a share. This matter is very difficult. Great elder, you should discuss this matter with my father. Ling Taiyun is worried that he would go for wool and come home shorn." Then great elder stroked his beard, immediately took out a golden pearl, and said, "Here, take it. We won't force you to get anything from Qin Yun. As long as you can have a good relationship with him, it will be fine." "All right." Ling Daixin doesn't think it will be difficult. She took it with a smile. "Great elder, is this Qin Yun really worth it?" Ling Taiyun let out a long sigh. Other people want to capture Qin Yun. They even want to kill him, but they have never succeeded. Furthermore, Qin Yun is different from the great divine king. Qin Yun has a very long history of growth, and the great divine king doesn't. This means that Qin Yun has limitless growth potential. Qin Yun is much more terrifying than the great divine king. Ling Daixin held the great heaven bloodline heavenly rune and said, "Qin Yun will definitely come to the 4 divine sons. When the time comes, we will know how he compares to the great divine king." Qin Yun participated in the creation of the 4 divine sons, and it is also very strange. Within the 4 divine sons, he can use the divine power of the 4 divine sons. If the great divine king suffers a loss here, it will shake the great divine king's prestige. Great Elder Ling said with a smile, "Qin Yun and the great divine king have conflict. As long as Qin Yun doesn't die, it is equivalent to the great divine king losing." Ling Taiyun said with a smile, "Once the great divine king's prestige is shaken, we will be able to ridicule those arrogant bastards from the divine king palace in the future." That's right, those fellows from the divine king palace think that by following the great divine king, they can step on our Ling family's head. They even want to fight for the position of our Ling family's imperial family. They truly overestimate themselves. Great Elder Ling said with a sneer, Ling Daixin also knew that the pressure their Ling family faced mainly came from the Divine King Palace. While they were discussing inside the house, a commotion suddenly came from outside. They immediately ran out and heard someone say, "The Divine Moon Clan's emperor is here." The Divine Moon Clan was the leader of the Divine Moon Alliance. The Divine Moon Clan's emperor's strength was unfathomable. When many big shots were discussing in the Heavenly Mandate Sacred Land, they had talked about the Divine Moon Clan's emperor. They knew that this woman was not to be trifled with, and that she had a cooperative relationship with Qin Yun. In addition, the Divine Moon Clan's emperor had given Qin Yun the bloodline heavenly pattern box that he had once possessed, which was also the very precious Divine Moon bloodline heavenly pattern box. Previously, Xiang Yun had rushed back to the Divine Moon of the heavens. After dealing with the matter of the Divine Moon's moon heart, she found out that the great Divine King and the Heaven's Dragon Emperor had come to the four Divine Suns. She knew that Qin Yun would definitely come. Chapter 2720. The Divine Moon Clan also has a building in the four Divine Suns. The person in charge is Li Xuan. Their building has also collapsed, and the Stone Creation Divine Tool is unusable. Before Qin Yun came, he had already informed Li Xuan. She did not have any objections, and she also expressed her disgust towards those people from the Nine Sun Holy Land. After Yu Shangyun arrived, Li Xuan and the other Divine Moon Clan women who were stationed here also went over. Ling Daixin and Ling Taiyun walked out and saw Yu Shangyun, who was covered in black armor. They could not see Yu Shangyun's appearance and felt that it was a pity. They had long heard that Yu Shangyun has always been like this. "I heard that she is a beauty. I really want to see her." Ling Daixin is very curious. She is also a beauty, but she believes that she cannot compare to the Divine Moon Clan's emperor. The Divine Moon Clan's emperor controls the entire heaven's divine moon, and during the night, the moonlight of the heaven's divine moon can illuminate the heavens. Currently, the heaven's divine moon is just at the transformation stage. In the future, by relying on the 9 divine suns, it will definitely grow even more powerful. The Divine Moon Clan that controls the heaven's divine moon is something that the big shots present do not dare to look down on. Yu Shangyun originally held a trace of reverence towards the Divine Moon Clan, but after knowing that the entire Divine Moon Clan has become enemies with Qin Yun, she did not give the Divine Moon Clan any face. Previously, she cooperated with the Divine Moon Clan and lowered her stance mainly because she had received instructions from the Nine Sun Law Spirit that the Divine Moon Clan would be of great help to the Divine Moon Clan. But later, she discovered that it was not the case. Especially after she gained a deeper understanding of the Divine Moon Clan, she realized that the Divine Moon Clan wants to dominate the entire heaven's divine moon. Not long ago, because of the heaven's fate dragon lake, the divine moon of the heaven's divine moon changed. After Yu Shangyun returned to the moon core and met Xie Kuru, she found out that the Nine Sun Law Spirit is sometimes unreliable. Therefore, she is not as polite to the Divine Moon Clan as before. She is even filled with hostility. In Yu Shangyun's heart, anyone who is Qin Yun's enemy is also her enemy. The leaders of the various powerful clans are gathered in the 4 divine suns. She also knows that Qin Yun has been here before and destroyed the buildings here. She knows that Qin Yun will definitely come again. If Qin Yun were to clash with the powerhouses of the powerful clans here, she would be able to help him. On the side of the Sun Moon Divine Tribe, there was a rusty building that was full of cracks. The Sun Moon Tribe Emperor was inside. The Sun Moon Tribe Emperor did not come out. A cold and stern voice came from the building. "Divine Moon Tribe Emperor, your Divine Moon Tribe is a subsidiary tribe of my Sun Moon Tribe. Why aren't you coming over to pay your respects?" From a voice, it was a man, but it was not the Emperor of Sun Moon Tribe. "My Mystic Moon Clan has never acknowledged that we are a branch clan of yours. The Divine Moon Clan is the Divine Moon Clan and has nothing to do with the Sun In Divine Clan." Xiao Xianqin, the Divine Moon Holy Maiden, spoke. Xiao Xianqin was being nurtured by Yu Shangyun as the next clan emperor, and this was also recognized by the entire Divine Moon race. "How dare you? Is the mystic moon tribe rebelling against the nine suns Dharma spirit? An elder from the Sun Moon tribe said. He was the Sun Moon tribe emperor. Yu Shangyun still did not speak and allowed Xiao Xianqin to speak. Xiao Xianqin said with sneer, "You are the ones rebelling against the nine suns Dharma spirit, right? Our divine moon tribe only recognizes the nine suns Dharma spirit in its normal state." Divine moon tribe emperor, you speak. The sunny divine race emperor's voice is filled with cold anger. Because even he spoke, Yu Shangyun did not speak and instead let the woman beside her speak. "You are not worthy," Xiao Xianqin said coldly. The other elders quietly watched from the side. From their point of view, this is the matter of the sun in divine race. It has nothing to do with them. Furthermore, they do not know anything about the strength of the divine moon tribe. They only know that the divine moon they control is very powerful, and the nine suns divine maiden is from the divine moon tribe. Therefore, they do not want to offend the divine moon tribe. Yu Shangyun is truly not afraid of the sun in emperor. When she entered the four divine suns, she used the devil mirror to contact Yu. Yu is one of the elders of the divine moon tribe. She will naturally help Yu Shangyun. Moreover, she is the same as Yu Shangyun. She also wants to help Qinyan. Yu Shangyun did not pay any attention to the sun in divine race. Instead, she said with her ice-cold and imposing voice, "Within the four divine suns, half of them belong to my divine moon tribe. I hope you can remember this. Divine moon tribe emperor, aren't you being too greedy? Why don't you tell me, why does the four divine suns have half of your territory?" The one who spoke is the great divine king. He is also inside the house and has not come out. "What does half of my territory have to do with you? Why should I tell you?" Yu Shangyun said with sneer. "The fourth divine sun has nothing to do with you. I advise you to quickly leave the four divine suns." The Heaven's Dragon Emperor is somewhat unhappy. He is inside a golden dragon head palace. However, that palace is already extremely dilapidated. His voice came out. "Divine Moon Tribe Emperor, do you think that the reason why you have half of your territory in the four divine suns is because you are very strong? In other words, the stronger you are, the bigger your territory is, right? No. Half of the territory within the four divine suns was given to our divine moon clan by Qinyan." Yu Shangyun said, "Of course, if he takes it back, I have no objections. The four divine suns are so big, but Qinyan actually gave half of it to the divine moon clan. This caused all the big shots present to be secretly alarmed. They knew that Qinyan's relationship with the divine moon clan was not ordinary, and they also knew that Qinyan's wife was the nine-sun divine maiden. However, they never expected that their relationship would be this good. Qinyan is nothing," the great divine lord angrily rebuked. "The four divine suns have nothing to do with him. Can you enter the core of the four divine suns? Qinyan can. Can you build a house in the four divine suns? Qinyan can." Yu Shangyun sneered. "If Qinyan can do this, then he is nothing. You are nothing." Everyone was waiting here for the great divine Lord Stone making divine tool. They were all impatient and began to doubt his ability. Therefore, the pressure on the great divine Lord was not small. At this moment, Yu Shangyun's words made him lose all face. After all, he was the great divine lord, but his current ability was inferior to the little divine king's. This made him very angry. "Shut up," the great divine lord shouted angrily. "Don't you know that I am the great divine lord? I am the strongest in the divine desolate. How dare you be rude to me?" Yu Shangyun naturally knew that it was the great divine lord. This was what Wang Haoyue had secretly told her, but she was not afraid at all. Chapter 27-21. Which of the powerhouses present was not an old fox? Of course they knew that Yu Shangyun was provoking the great divine lord and the other big shots. Who didn't want the great divine King Embark? But everyone knew that the great divine lord was truly not to be trifled with. Although they had never seen the great divine lord's strength before, he had the extremely mysterious great divine King Heavenly Seal in his hands. This was also the reason why many big shots did not dare to have any thoughts. Divine Moon Race's Emperor. Do you think that everyone can't see through your little trick? Don't even think about sowing discord. Great Divine Lord said angrily. Half of our Divine Moon Clan's territory is in the 4 Divine Suns, and the other half is Qin Yun's. Do you plan on occupying my Divine Moon Clan's half or Qin Yun's half? Yu Shangyun asked. She was adamant that she had half of the territory within the 4 God Yang. If other powerful races wanted to occupy it, it would be equivalent to making an enemy out of her. One had to consider the consequences of becoming enemies with the Divine Moon Clan. After all, every night, the Divine Moon hung above their heads. No one knew how much control the Divine Moon race had over the Divine Moon of the heavens. If they could control the Divine Moon of the heavens and launch an attack on the ground, just thinking about it was terrifying. None of the big shots present answered Yu Shangyun's question. They don't admit that the 4 Divine Sun territories belong to Qin Yun and the Divine Moon Clan, but they also don't dare to say that they want to occupy the Divine Moon Clan's territory. Ling Daixin watched from afar and said in a low voice, "This Divine Moon race's great emperor is so powerful, he isn't even afraid of the great Divine Lord and the Heaven's Dragon Emperor. I never thought that Qin Yun would have such a good relationship with the Divine Moon Clan." Those law enforcers always spread rumors about how bad the relationship between Qin Yun and Divine Moon Clan is. Ling Taiyun lightly groaned and said, "I was almost deceived by them." Ling Daixin said, "Big brother Taiyun, those guys who protected you before are from the heavenly secret sect of the law enforcement world, aren't they? Have you asked them about Qin Yun's wife?" "Yes, she is a 9-sun divine maiden. Her name is Xiao Yuelon. I don't know much about the specific situation, and she rarely shows her face." Ling Taiyun said, "Xiao Yuelon? I really want to meet her and see how strong she is." Ling Daixin murmured, "Don't worry, you have our great Heaven Divine Clan behind you." Ling Taiyun laughed. The Emperor of the Great Sky Tribe had not made a sound. He was one of the disciples of the Great Divine Lord and was not as high profile as the Great Divine Lord. Ling Taiyun was very similar to the Emperor of the Extreme Sky Tribe. The Great Heaven Divine Clan had dealt with the Greatest Heaven Sect and the Great Heaven Divine City, but the big shots of the Great Heaven Divine Clan rarely had high-profile conflict with others. Even now, not many people had seen the Great Emperor of the Pith Heaven Tribe. The Emperor of the Sun Moon Tribe and the Great Divine Lord did not speak to Yu Shangyun anymore. It could be seen that they did not dare to be too arrogant when facing the powerful Empress of the Divine Moon Tribe. It was obvious that someone from the Heaven Secret Sect had sent a voice transmission to them, telling them that the Divine Moon Clan was not to be trifled with. The Heaven Secret Sect understood the Divine Moon Clan very well. Now, even the Heaven Secret Sect couldn't figure out the overall strength of the Divine Moon Clan, let alone someone from the 9-sun sacred ground. The Great Divine Lord suddenly felt a little aggrieved. He, the Great Divine Lord, was a highly respected Divine Lord in the 9-sun sacred land. When the clan emperors of the various clans in the 9-sun sacred land saw him, they had to be very respectful. Unlike now, when he was being attacked by a woman, he could only hold it in. Moreover, the Heaven's Dragon Emperor seemed to be stronger than him. When the Yu-Clan Emperor of the ancient Yu-Clan spoke to him, he did not seem very polite. Not only the Great Divine Lord, all the big shots of the powerful clans that came out of the 9-sun sacred land had this kind of feeling. They were not that strong. They had originally thought that the 9-sun sacred land was the center of the divine desolate and had special treatment. The time they had spent here was much longer than the outside world, making them think that their strength was stronger than the outside world. But now that they had come out, they realized that the divine desolate land was very big. There were all kinds of powerful clans, especially the heaven-opening ancient clan and the Heaven's Dragon race that had just appeared. They made them feel immense pressure. The Great Divine Lord and the clan emperors of the various clans in the 9-sun sacred land had long known that Qin Yun, the little divine king, was often hunted down. Therefore, they looked down on Qin Yun, the little divine king, and thought that Qin Yun was very weak. Now that they had left the 9-sun sacred land, they realized that Qin Yun was not weak at all. Instead, he was very awesome because he could still live freely and happily in the face of so many powerful fellows. Qin Yun is in the 5th Divine Sunday. He doesn't know about the matter of the 4th Divine Sunday. He is wholeheartedly cultivating, increasing his cultivation, cultivating the divine Tao heavenly pill, and comprehending the divine arts and heavenly laws. He has already refined 5-stage transformation purple pills. Then he continued to use the divine universe golden stone and mysterious fusion heavenly rune to make fertilizer. Then he infused it into the stage transformation purple ginseng. This way, he can continue to plant the stage transformation purple ginseng. What divine Tao heavenly pill should I cultivate next? Qin Yun still has 9 divine Tao heavenly pills to cultivate. Let's cultivate the divine cauldron Tao images divine Tao heavenly pill. This way, when combined with the heavenly lion, I can use the heavenly lion dragon suppressing cauldron better. In Qin Yun's eyes, the heavens dragon race is a great threat. He must quickly grasp the power to resist the dragon race. Only then can he feel at ease. He ate a stage transformation purple pill and quickly refined it. However, it did not allow him to break through. He can only eat another one. After eating the 2nd pill, the divine Tao heavenly pill finally appeared with pill tribulation. Just like before, he released the sacred gate of tribulation and entered it to see the divine cauldron statue and the divine Tao heavenly pill transcending their tribulations. The inside of the sacred tribulation gate is blue. The divine cauldron is also blue. It is exactly the same as the heavenly lion dragon suppressing cauldron. Qin Yun immediately released the heavenly lion dragon suppressing cauldron and fused it with the divine cauldron Tao image. This will allow the heavenly lion dragon suppressing cauldron to become even stronger. The divine Tao heavenly pill's pill tribulation looks very fierce, but in Qin Yun's eyes, it is equivalent to tempering the divine Tao heavenly pill and Tao image. It doesn't look like tribulation at all. Of course, if the Tao image and divine Tao heavenly pill are not strong enough, they will collapse during the pill tribulation. The divine cauldron very quickly finished the tribulation. Qin Yun's cultivation increased by another level. He has become a 2-star heavenly monarch. But for him, this is still not enough. I still have 3-stage transformation purple pills. I will use them to cultivate Nether Sun. Qin Yun originally wanted to cultivate Nether Sun and Imperial Heaven Tao images divine Tao heavenly pill last, because they're the most difficult to cultivate. But after thinking about it carefully, he feels that he needs a very powerful divine Tao heavenly pill to become even stronger and more stable. Nether Sun Tao images divine Tao heavenly pill is the best choice. Qin Yun looked at his 9 sun divine spirit. 8th and 9th pearls have not been opened yet. He needs the help of Xiao Yuelon or Xia Qiru's 9 Yin divine spirit. Originally, he only had 1 9 Yin divine spirit. It was in Xia Qiru's hands. Later, he copied another one and gave it to Xiao Yuelon. Chapter 27-22. Sun Yin Divine Race's transformation stage, Purple Ginseng, allowed Qin Yun's cultivation to advance by leaps and bounds. If Sun Yin Divine Race knew about this, they would definitely regret it. When they found out that Jade-Faced Rat King is Qin Yun, they already regretted it. But later they felt that the quality of the transformation stage, Purple Ginseng, was very poor and would not bring much benefit to Qin Yun, so they did not take it to heart. What they did not expect is that Qin Yun has a very high-level divine skill in growing medicine. Even the Sun Yin Divine Race found it very difficult to grow transformation stage Purple Ginseng. Yet Qin Yun managed to grow a lot of them in a very short period of time. Qin Yun is now cultivating Nether Sun's divine Tao heavenly pill. His refining speed is much faster than before. After all, Nether Sun itself has the ability to dissolve, refine, and devour. Therefore, the refining speed of 3 transformation stage purple core is many times faster than before. Even Qin Yun is secretly apprehensive of Nether Sun's devouring and refining ability. It is actually terrifying to this extent. If Qin Yun's Nether Sun is stronger, it would be even stronger than the meteorite Nine Sun Divine Soul. The Nether Sun inside the Nine Sun Divine Soul is not small anymore. After all, Qin Yun has fed many small divine suns. Qin Yun still has many small divine suns. He wants to keep them to feed other divine suns in the future. There are still many divine suns waiting for him to create. 3 transformation stage purple core is not enough for Nether Sun to absorb. Qin Yun sensed that the transformation stage purple core's medicinal power has already been refined and sighed in his heart. Just as he is worrying, he suddenly sensed someone behind him. Qin Yun is inside the Nine Sun Heaven Raising Pagoda. He is not scared when someone suddenly came in, because the people who can enter the Nine Sun Heaven Raising Pagoda must be Yang Shuriyue and others. They are Yang Shuriyue, Ling Yun, Zi Qingsheng, Shui Tianzi, and Long Tianji. Xiao Yun, what's wrong? Why are you frowning? Ling Yun said with smile. I was cultivating and almost broke through. Qin Yun spread out his hands in distress. Zi Qingsheng, Shui Tianzi, and Long Tianji want to return to the Nine Sun Divine Soul to take care of the elegant smoke manufacturing equipment. Although there were only a few of them, they could easily manage a large number of automatic smoke-making equipment and produce a large number of Shaosha cigarettes. After that, Qin Yun told Yang Shuryu and Ling Yun about his cultivation experience over the past few days. 4 divine sons need you to go as soon as possible. This is what you told me. Yang Shuryu touched Qin Yun's cheek and said with smile, you have to quickly become a 3-star heavenly lord and then go to 4 divine sun. That won't do. I still need to plant transformation stage purple ginseng for a few days. Qin Yun sighed. Sister Yang just finished learning the 3rd level of the new Sun and Moon Heart Sutra. She wants to try it out. Let her help you. This 5 divine sun is her territory. Let her borrow the divine power of the 5 divine sun. Ling Yun said with a smirk. At this moment, Yang Shuryu was also filled with affection. Her beautiful eyes flickered with charm, and then she released 2 charming long-legged fairy clones. Ling Yun tenderly smiled and hugged those 2 long-legged moon elves, eating their tofu quite a bit. Bad Yun haven't you had enough before? Yang Shuryu laughed and scolded. She pinched Ling Yun's face and smiled charmingly. I have to go back quickly. I cultivated with you guys before and improve a lot. Maybe I will have to go through pill tribulation. Ling Yun said with smile. Xiao Yun, if everything goes smoothly, I will be able to improve by myself. You don't need to cultivate me. Ling Yun is also Qin Yun's Tao image. Her divine Tao heavenly pill is also cultivated by herself. Is that so? You are both women. Cultivating Sun and Moon Heart Sutra together can be very fast. Qin Yun also thought of some wonderful scenes. Of course, this is the formidable aspect of Sun and Moon Heart Sutra. I have Nether Sun and Big Sister Yang has Nether Moon. It will be even faster. Ling Yun smiled and returned to her divine tribulation gate. Let's begin. Yang Shuryu gently caressed Qin Yun's face. Her eyes are blurred, and she said with gentle smile. Qin Yun, who was worried just a moment ago, in the blink of an eye he is immersed in an incomparably gentle and delicate fragrance. He is intoxicated in cultivation with his lover. Half a day later, Qin Yun hastily got up, put on his clothes, ran out of the Nine Sun Heaven Raising Pagoda, and released 2 divine tribulation gates. Yang Shuryu stored away her fairy avatar and put on a loose white muslin gown. Her long hair is somewhat messy and draped over her shoulders, making her look even more flirtatious. She arrived behind Qin Yun, stretched out her lily-white arms, and hugged Qin Yun's waist. She looked at the 2 divine tribulation gates and said in low voice, Xiao Yun, is this Nether Sun and Yun pill tribulation? Qin Yun tidied up her messy long hair and said with nod, and I didn't expect it to happen at the same time. Don't worry, we will definitely pass smoothly. Yang Shuryu leaned on Qin Yun's body. She very much enjoyed being together with Qin Yun. Although it is not long, it is her most beautiful memory. Big Sister Yang, what is the situation at Four Divine Sun? Qin Yun asked. Because he was cultivating before, he did not ask about this matter. Sister Shang Yun is at Four Divine Sun. Divine Judge is also there. You told me that the situation there is very tense. It is very likely that a fight will break out. Yang Shiyu said. Qin Yun learned that Yu Shang Yun also went to Four Divine Sun and cannot help but worry. After all, Divine Moon women are the best sacrificial offerings. He is worried that Yu Shang Yun will be besieged by those big shots. However, thinking about Yu, he felt a lot more at ease. Furthermore, Yu Shang Yun is also not weak. Although he knows that worrying about Yu Shang Yun is superfluous, he can't help but be concerned about this powerful empress. I'm leaving soon. I really can't bear to part with you. Qin Yun kissed Yang Shiyu's red lips again and then hugged the beauty tightly. I also can't bear to part with you. But in order for us to be together forever in the future, we must do some things now. Yang Shiyu's elegant and peerlessly beautiful face is filled with smile. She doesn't want Qin Yun to feel melancholy because of parting, so her smile is very beautiful and enchanting. People, however, Qin Yun still has a look of reluctance. What are you feeling sad about? If you want to come here in the future, come often. Yang Shiyu said with smile. Of course, if you remember Big Sister Yang. How can I not remember you? Qin Yun scratched her nose. I heard from Yin, that you met many great beauties in this period of time. Yu Yao Yao, Ling Dai Xin, Hu Mei Yang Shiyu said with charming smile. Qin Yun curled his lips and said, I only met them by chance. At most we can only be considered friends. Yang Shiyu laughed a few times and said, All right, I won't tease you anymore. Let's go in and take a look. I'll wait for you outside. Qin Yun opened a sacred tribulation gate. After he entered, he discovered that it is completely pitch black inside. He can't see anything. This is the sacred tribulation gate where Nether Sun is located. However, it is completely empty inside, as if there is nothing inside the darkness of nothingness. Chapter 27-23. Inside the Nether Sun Tao Image's Sacred Tribulation Gate, it is completely dark. There is not even a bit of light. Even if Qin Yun opened his heavenly eye, he would not be able to see where the Nether Sun is. He took out the stone of light and wanted to light up the place, but he found that it was very spacious inside and the light was useless. The Nether Sun Tao image is still here. After Qin Yun calmed down, he released his formidable mental power to investigate all around. He can sense Nether Sun's divine power aura, but he doesn't know where it is. Nether Sun had merely hidden himself, but he didn't know why. Nether Sun is hidden in the darkness. It does not produce any fluctuation. It is impossible to see it. Qin Yun opened his heavenly eye and strengthened his mental power to sense. He suddenly felt that Nether Sun was hiding on purpose. Could it be that this is Nether Sun's test for me? If I can't find it here, it won't appear? Qin Yun has some understanding of Nether Sun over the years. Although it is not controlled by Ling Yuner, it has its own consciousness. Qin Yun, who was flying forward, suddenly stopped. If the Nether Sun was hidden, then it would be useless for him to fly around aimlessly. Think if he wanted to find Nether Sun, he would need to use other methods. I will definitely find you. Qin Yun took a deep breath and powered the Imperial Heavenly Tao avatar. He released a powerful divine power that gathered in his eyes. Not long after, his eyes emitted an extremely powerful blue glow, which then shot forward. Qin Yun turned his head. Looking around, it didn't take long for numerous pairs of blue heaven eyes to appear all around him. They are the heavenly eye avatars that Qin Yun released. These heavenly eye avatars are high up in the sky, constantly blinking. Every time they blink, they emit a blue light wave. Not long after, Qin Yun discovered a place where the light wave suddenly disappeared. It is very clear that it was absorbed by the Nether Sun, so it did not reflect back. Over there, Qin Yun immediately flew over. When he flew over, he sensed an indescribable pressure. Nether Sun was indeed over there, and it was extremely huge. Don't get close to it and feel like you're as insignificant as dust. Most the scariest thing was that he clearly knew there was a huge monster in front of him, but he couldn't see it with the naked eye. The Nether Sun could perfectly blend into the darkness. At this moment, the Nether Sun began to release a powerful, devouring power. Qin, after Yin approached, he felt the space around him fluctuating, but it didn't affect him much. When he got closer, he suddenly had a strange feeling. Time has changed. Qin Yun was secretly delighted. Nether Sun's powerful devouring power can distort time and space. It can change time itself. The Nether Sun's ability to change time has always existed, especially as it grew stronger. He placed Xian Rujing and others here to prevent the curse power from spreading. But however, Qin Yun had always found it difficult to use such an ability. Moreover, he can't stay near the Nether Sun for too long. Such as after approaching Nether Sun, he discovered that Nether Sun's control over time has greatly improved. The time here was very different from the outside world. He was unable to calculate the specifics. He only knew that Nether Sun had the ability to control time. Can I use this ability in the future? Qin Yun wants to go to the edge of the Nether Sun. This way, he can control the time and the space he is in. He can make time very fast or very slow. Qin Yun has already arrived beside the Nether Sun. He still can't see the huge Nether Sun, but he can sense that it is in front of him. He recalled all the Heavenly Eye avatars, then concentrated the power of the Heavenly Eye and shot out two powerful light rays into the darkness ahead. Heaven. After the Heavenly Eye's divine power entered, he saw many complex runes. Moreover, they have condensed into a ball. This is Heavenly Rune? Qin Yun is shocked in his heart. No, this is the fusion of Totem and Heavenly Rune. After the Heavenly Lion Tao images divine, Tao Heavenly Core passed through pill tribulation. Heavenly Lion Totem Heavenly Rune appeared. Is this the Nether Sun Totem? Or did it evolve into a time totem? Although Qin Yun can see the Totem Heavenly Rune, he is unable to grasp it. It is completely different from the Nether Sun Totem he is familiar with. There is no similarity. That is why he suspects that it is a time totem. Maybe it is because Nether Sun evolved to control time. That is why it has this kind of totem. No matter what, I will need time to learn this kind of complex totem Heavenly Rune. Even though Qin Yun is unable to grasp it, he is still very happy. Until without him, he will be able to control time power in the future. At this time, his connection with Nether Sun has been restored. He can now clearly see that the Nether Sun has become a lot bigger than before. Nether Sun is indeed testing me. Now I will need to learn from Nether Sun and control time. Qin Yun took a deep breath, suppressed the excitement in his heart, and walked out of the tribulation gate. Out after he arrived, he saw Ling Yun, and Yang Shuiwa together. Spirit Yun, has already crossed her pill tribulation. Qin Yun sensed this after he came out. Xiao Yun, I have crossed the pill tribulation. I am also very strong now. Ling Yun, said with charming smile. Then come back. Let me see how strong my divine power is. Qin Yun stored away the Nether Sun tribulation gate. Spirit Yun also entered the tribulation gate and was stored away by Qin Yun. He activated the 4 tribulation gates and released divine power. All of them have the imposing aura of tribulation power. Qin Yun unceasingly strengthened his divine power, used Imperial Heaven Divine Art to circulate it, then used Imperial Heaven Heart to condense it into extremely strong Imperial Heaven Divine Power. Yang Shuiwa's expression slightly changed seeing this. She retreated a few steps and said in low voice, Xiao Yun, how can her divine power contain such formidable destructive power? Did you use 9 Sun World Extermination scripture? I didn't, Qin Yun said. It seems like after your divine, Tao, heavenly pill crossed the pill tribulation, you can easily release this kind of mysterious tribulation power. If it is combined with 9 Sun World Extermination scripture, it will surely become very strong. Yang Shuiwa said. Qin Yun retracted his divine power and asked, If I face those guys who have surpassed Shen Tianjun, what are my chances of winning? It's hard to say. Those guys who have surpassed Shen Tianjun all have different levels. In short, with your current strength, no matter who you face, you will have enough power to protect yourself. Yang Shiyue walked over to Qin Yun's side and pinched his arm. Qin Yun embraced Yang Shiyue's jade waist and said, "Big sister Yang, I want to go to Four Divine Sun." "Yes, let's hurry over. The Four Divine Suns belong to you. You can't let those guys monopolize them." Yang Shiyue's eyes are filled with tenderness. She gently smiled and kissed Qin Yun's lips. "Send me to Four Divine Suns." Qin Yun pulled Yang Shiyue's hand. Yang Shiyue first sent Qin Yun out of the inner core's second layer space, and then sent him to the Four Divine Suns. Qin Yun once again arrived at the Four God Sun, but he was not at the place where the big shots were gathered. The area he was in was completely empty. 4. Chapter 27-24. When Qin Yun arrived at the Fourth Divine Sun, he immediately felt a very familiar feeling. He sensed that the divine power of the Fourth Divine Sun was gathering towards him as he breathed. "I've never felt this way before. Is it because of my nether sun?" Qin Yun had come here before. Back then, he was not even a 1-star Heavenly Lord. Now, he was a 4-star Heavenly Lord. Not only that, his nether sun Tao Idol's divine Tao Heavenly Core has passed through pill, tribulation, and evolved to become extremely powerful. This time, he sensed that he has a higher affinity with the divine power of the Four God Suns. He can now easily absorb the divine power of the Four God Suns. He walked on the crystal floor of the Four God Suns and used the invisibility technique to completely hide himself without being discovered. Qin Yun took out the magic mirror and contacted his friends. The divine judge had already arrived at the center of the Four God Suns, along with the gods of the divine court of myriad worlds. Hara, the original divine court's heaven city, was occupied by the great godly lordsmen. Under the summons of the divine preceptor, all the gods left divine court city. Even the teleportation portal to divine court city was shut down. Qin Yun also learned that Mingyong Tian had come as well. He was originally managing the Yunyue brothel, but because of the divine court's heavenly city, he closed it down and came with Yu Yin and Tian Ru. Yu Yin and Tian Ru were both Tian Ji secret assassins. It was not convenient for them to show their faces, so they had disguised themselves. Among the Four Divine Suns, many big shots were waiting for the great god Lord's stone-making divine artifact. Qin Yun's stone creation divine equipment could absorb the energy of the Four Divine Suns and combine it with the energy of the divine universe golden stone. Then, it could create a type of stone that would not decay. It could be used to build sturdy buildings here, and it could be used to make array pillars. Qin Yun was a little divine king. If he could do it, then the great divine king should be able to do it as well. Once the houses were built, it was time to divide their territory. Ruo, if someone destroyed the houses in their territory, it meant that they were provoking them, and they had a legitimate reason to fight. The big shots who had entered the Four God Suns said that they wanted to occupy wherever they wanted, but they were unable to build cities and houses here. No matter how large the territory they occupied, it was useless. God the Chief Judge had brought all the gods here, which made Great Divine Lord very unhappy. Previously, the Great God Lord had injured the Chief God and Xiao Wufeng, intimidating the entire divine court of the myriad worlds. This was to make the other deity position gods behave themselves. But now, the divine preceptor had poached all the gods of the divine court of myriad worlds and even brought the Four Divine Suns with him. Old thing, are you rebelling? The entire divine court of the myriad realms belongs to the great divine Lord. A middle-aged man walked out from the small building where the great divine Lord was and shouted angrily at the divine judge. The all heavens divine desolate's heavenly divine court city is now empty. Without the divine grand judge, the heavenly divine court city doesn't exist, and there is no all heavens divine court. Heavenly Ghost Ancestor said coldly. That's right. The divine court of myriad realms only exists when there's a divine judge. The one who spoke was the evil god. Only Qin Yun could deprive them of their deity positions. As long as the deity positions were in their hands, their souls would not die and could be reborn with the deity positions. Therefore, in their eyes, Qin Yun was their god king. Luo Yaofeng was the wind god, so she was also standing with the god courts team, together with flower god Xiangyalan. Bullshit divine judge. His broken flag is useless. What else can he do? Yin Tianyi sneered. He was very unhappy with the divine judge because the Sun Yin divine tribe had been chased by the myriad realms divine court for doing something outrageous. The god chief said, "The heavens god punishment flag is useless, but it doesn't mean that I am useless. This time, we have the gods of the divine court. As long as we gather their power, we won't have to fear anyone." After he finished speaking, he looked at the big shots of the other powerful races present. You, the great tribe emperor, the all heavens dragon emperor, the great sky tribe emperor, and the other leaders of the major factions were silent. They knew that the existence of the divine court of the myriad realms was supported by the 9 sons' lost spirit. The divine court of the myriad realms mainly maintained the order of the divine wilderness. In the early days, it was very weak, but now it had grown to a certain scale. Just like that, just as the divine chief judge had said, if they united the power of the gods, their power would be extremely terrifying. Big the divine king said solemnly, "I am the great divine king, the king of gods. All the gods in the divine wilderness with deity thrones have to kneel before me, the great godly monarch. If you and that old traitor oppose me, only death awaits you." The divine chief judge ignored the great godly monarch and looked at the big shots of the powerful races and said, "The divine court heavenly city of the divine wilderness has been abandoned. The new divine court heavenly city will be built in the 4 divine sons. The divine court heavenly city will be the teleportation hub of the divine wilderness. You can come to the divine court heavenly city to build the teleportation formation so that it will be convenient to travel to other places." Divine Chief Judge, within the 4 divine sons, half of the territory belongs to the divine moon tribe and the other half belongs to Qin Yun. There is no more land for you to build the divine court heavenly city. The All Heavens Dragon Emperor's voice sounded. There was a rumor that the All Heavens Dragon Emperor wanted to occupy half of the territory of the 4 divine sons, but he had not personally said how much he wanted. There is no place for the divine court heavenly city within the 4 divine sons. If you want to build the divine court heavenly city here, you must first settle the divine moon tribe in Qin Yun. The Sun Moon tribe emperor's voice came from a dilapidated building. Although Qin Yun is a young divine king, he has already given up on the divine court of the myriad realms. He has never entered the divine court of the myriad realms and has no sense of responsibility towards the divine court of the myriad realms. It can be seen that he already knows of the great divine king's existence. The law enforcement realm king sneered, and now it is equivalent to him tacitly agreeing to give the divine court to the great divine king. The great divine king said coldly, "Divine chief judge, you have defied 2 divine kings." The divine chief judge laughed loudly. "It is Qin Yun who asked me to come here to build the divine court heavenly city. Half of the territory of the 4 divine sons will be used to build the divine court heavenly city." Everyone was shocked. They did not expect that this was Qin Yun's intention. Although Qin Yun is a young divine king, he has always shown that he wants to control the divine court of the myriad realms. So everyone thinks that his heart is not in the divine court of the myriad realms. "It seems that we will have to take action today," the great divine king said coldly. "Let's first clearly divide the territory of the 4 divine sons and then refine the stone divine tool. Everyone, what do you think? We will now clearly discuss the division of the territory of the 4 divine sons." The Sun Moon tribe emperor said. Yu Shangyun's powerful voice immediately came. "Half of the 4 divine sons belong to my divine moon tribe. Half of the 4 divine sons belong to the divine court of the myriad realms. The divine chief judge laughed and said, "The division of the territory is already very clear." Tribe Emperor laughed angrily. "However, this is all given to you by Qin. But who does Qin think he is? What right does he have to think that the four divine sons belong to him? What right does he have to divide the territory here to you? Because I can explode your dog head." Qin Yun's voice suddenly came out, only with a loud boom. The building that the Sun Moon Tribe's emperor was in suddenly exploded into pieces. In Chapter 27-25, Qin Yun only shot the sun-suppressing divine arrow from afar and shot it into the dilapidated building. Yet it produced such power. The devouring power of the sun-suppressing divine arrow was very frightening, especially for the four divine sons. It had devoured the powerful divine power in this place, and it was frantically devouring it as it flew. When the sun-suppressing divine arrow hit the building, the powerful divine power it had devoured exploded, and the people inside were caught unprepared. Qin Yun had come, but no one knew where he was. Since such a powerful attack had caused such a huge commotion, but the experts present were unable to pinpoint his exact location. The most frightening thing was that his attack was silent, and there was no aura at all. Otherwise, the Sun Moon Emperor would have sensed it. For Qin Yun had participated in the creation of the divine sons, and it was said that he had put in a lot of effort into it. Coupled with the divine king heavenly seal in his hand, he was like a fish in water among the four divine sons and could obtain powerful divine sun power. The divine power that had attacked the building was the special divine power of the four divine sons. Therefore, the experts present were unable to sense any other divine power aura attacking them. Qin Yun had completely hidden himself, and no one knew where he was. The Sun Moon Emperor ran out of the ruins and roared angrily. He then looked around, trying to find Qin Yun's location. Even though he had powerful divine power, he could not find Qin Yun and could not fight back. Crowd looking at the wretched Sun Moon Emperor, the old man was so angry that he kept shouting, "Qin Yun, come out if you have the guts." Just as he finished shouting, a dragon roar came from the sky. Listening carefully, it sounded like 9 angry dragons were roaring. Everyone immediately looked up and saw 9 balls of strong light appearing in the sky. The dragon roar came from those 9 balls of strong light. The most frightening thing was that these 9 balls of strong light were accompanied by extremely frightening robbery power. The ground inside the four divine sons was made of crystals, and at this moment, a burst of light mist rose up into the sky and shot into the 9 balls of strong light. I break. The Sun Moon Emperor blasted a few palms into the sky and released a strong divine power. The divine power of the Sun Moon Emperor was extremely frightening. After sensing it, the experts present could not help but be shocked. However, when the Sun Moon Tribe Emperor's divine power went up, it quickly dissipated and was sucked into the 9 balls of light. "That's the 9 dragons' glorious sun tribulation," someone suddenly exclaimed. The 9 dragons' glorious sun tribulation was a famous tribulation. Massey immediately looked at the All Heavens Dragon Emperor, thinking that it was caused by the All Heavens Dragon Emperor. After all, it was the 9 dragons' glory sun tribulation, and seemed to be closely related to the All Heavens Dragon Emperor. At this moment, Long Shu and the Monkey King were also secretly shocked. Even though they were from the dragon race, they were still shocked by this dragon power that carried robbery power. This was done by Qin Yun. He has mastered 9 Sun World Extermination Scripture. The person who spoke is none other than Heaven Secret Sect Master. 9 Yang World Extinguishing Scripture. This was an extremely terrifying heavenly Dharma divine power. Now that Qin Yun was using it in his divine son, its might was obvious. Yu Yun, the divine judge, and the others had already retreated far away. "Let's disperse." The one who shouted was Great Divine Lord. Even those big shots didn't dare to face the 9 dragons' glorious sun tribulation head-on within the divine sun. Once the great tribulation appeared, It would condense robbery power, and it would be very difficult to disperse. If someone attacked the Great Tribulation that was condensing and did not have enough power to destroy it, then the attacker would be locked on by the tribulation power. The Sun Moon Tribe Emperor's face is extremely ugly because he just attacked the 9 dragons' glorious Sun Tribulation. If you want to stay within the 4 divine suns, then prepare to accept the Great Tribulation test. Qin Yun's sneer echoed. I will use the 9-sun world extermination scripture to cleanse the 4 divine suns. Do you still plan to stay? As he spoke, the 9 balls of light in the sky suddenly exploded and 9 incomparably huge golden dragons appeared. They are dragons formed from energy. Mad the dragons roared ferociously, and as if they have gone mad, they fiercely charged towards the ground. Lord, the target of the attack is the Sun Moon Tribe Emperor. At the big shots present have already dispersed to various places. They are now far away, looking at the location where the Great Tribulation will descend. 9. This Great Tribulation is like a raging dragon formed from a brilliant sun, overturning rivers and seas, enveloping the location of the Sun Moon Tribe Emperor. Fiery light accompanied the berserk robbery power. Unceasingly rumbling thunder and ferocious dragon roars shook the earth of the 4 divine suns. The scene is shocking and shocking. The one being attacked by the Great Divine Lord is the disciple of the Great Divine Lord, but the Great Divine Lord did not go to help. Instead, he ran off to some unknown place. Seeing this scene, the group of experts realized that Qin Yun's control over the 4 divine suns has reached a very high level. In other words, within the 4 divine suns, without absolute strength, it is impossible to defeat Qin Yun. After all, the 4 divine suns are one divine sun. It is normal for their strength to be strong. Now that they are inside, they are very close to the core. Qin Yun only needs to borrow a small part of the divine sun's power to be invincible within the 4 divine suns. When the various big shots saw the power that Qin Yun displayed within the 4 divine suns, they all knew that it is impossible for them to divide the territory within the 4 divine suns. Qin Yun has the qualifications to say that the 4 divine suns are all his. 2 great elder Ling of the heavenly god race is currently together with Ling Taiyun and Ling Daixin. When he saw that Qin Yun is so powerful within the 4 divine suns, he was even more delighted and urged Ling Daixin to quickly build a good relationship with Qin Yun. Ling Daixin and Ling Taiyun finally saw how terrifying Qin Yun is. Qin Yun did not show himself, but he was able to beat the emperor of the Sun Moon Tribe to the point that he could not fight back. Wei Shuangyan, who was defeated by Qin Yun, lost without any grievances. The 9 brilliant Sun Tribulation is over. The Emperor of the Sun Moon Tribe is riddled with wounds, and there are several defensive divine tools floating around him. If it weren't for the protection of these defensive artifacts, his body would have long been destroyed. If you have the guts, come out. The Emperor of the Sun Moon Tribe shouted angrily, "Your Great Tribulation did not kill me." Just as he finished speaking, Qin Yun appeared in front of him. When the Emperor of the Sun Moon Tribe saw Qin Yun appear, he immediately waved his sword. That powerful divine power fluctuated with extremely terrifying mental power, and a black nether moon appeared above him. The nether moon of the Sun Moon Tribe is very large. At this moment, it is spinning crazily, releasing black evil chi into the Emperor's body. The injured body of the Emperor of the Sun Moon Tribe is quickly recovering. Qin Yun is also very surprised. He did not expect that the Emperor of the Sun Moon Tribe would cultivate such a terrifying nether moon. However, he is only surprised and does not feel afraid, because he is undefeated within the 4 divine suns. Not also, he feels that the nether moon of the Sun Moon Tribe is very good and can be used to feed the core of the 4 divine suns. Chapter 27-26. When Qin Yun saw the nether moon appear, his body immediately flashed and disappeared. He is still nearby, but he is hiding. The other experts who are watching the battle from the side are trying their best to search for traces of Qin Yun, but they did not find anything. The great divine lord did not help his disciple. It is true that the Sun Moon Emperor is his disciple, but if the master and disciple attack together and still fail to take down Qin Yun, they will definitely be laughed at. Although Qin Yun's strength will become extremely powerful among the four divine sons, it is after all the great divine lord and the Sun Moon Emperor working together. If they're unable to take down Qin Yun in the end, it will definitely be very embarrassing. The great divine lord has this consideration, so he has no intention of taking action. Even if he does, he will fight Qin Yun alone. Yun, can you enter that guy's nethermoon? Qin Yun asked. Ling Yun had entered someone else's divine son before and was taken care of by the spirit body inside. The nethermoon in front of her is also similar to those divine sons. No problem, Ling Yun said. I'll take action now. Ling Yun suddenly came out. He did not see her body, only a black ball of air. She has the little nether sun in her body, and at this moment, she is using the little nether sun to release divine power to wrap around her body, allowing her to enter the nether moon more easily. Ling Yun very smoothly rushed in. The nether moon released by the Sun Moon Emperor is very strong. It is releasing waves of black mental power. It is currently searching for traces of Qin Yun. However, after Ling Yun entered the nether moon, the Sun Moon Emperor's control over the nether moon is a bit lacking. Qin Yun does not dare to approach the Sun Moon Emperor. After all, he is the emperor of a powerful race from the Nine Sun Holy Land and is very strong. Right now it looks like he is being suppressed, but once he goes all out, it is not certain. Therefore, he is now focusing his attention on the nether moon, waiting for Ling Yun to succeed and cut off the connection between the Sun Moon Emperor and the nether moon. Yu Shang Yun, divine judge, and the others who are watching from afar are constantly paying attention to the great divine lord and the others. The great divine lord, the Heaven Secrets sect leader, the law enforcement realm king, the heavenly dragon emperor, and the others are all powerful experts. If they join hands to besiege Qin Yun, he will be in great danger. They seem to be secretly discussing whether they should take action or not. Although the Sun Moon Tribe's emperor had recovered from the Nine Sun World Extermination Scripture, his internal injuries were still very serious. No one knows whether or not Qin Yun can still use Nine Sun World Extermination Scripture. If one were to face the Nine Sun World Annihilating Sutra within the four divine sons, even if they didn't die, they would at least lose a layer of skin. Those big shots didn't dare to take this risk. The Sun Moon Tribe Emperor took out a long sword and shouted, Qin Yun, come out. At this time, Ling Yun used her mental power to contact Qin Yun and said, Xiao Yun, I've captured Nethermoon. All right. Qin Yun arrived beside the gigantic Nethermoon. With a thought, he stored the Nethermoon into the Nine Sun Divine Soul. Mingyu, who had been so aggressive just a moment ago, suddenly disappeared. The Sun Moon Tribe Emperor's face instantly turned pale, and his expression was extremely ugly. That Nethermoon was something that he had cultivated for many years. Now it had been snatched away. If one didn't have enough strength, releasing the Nethermoon would be very dangerous. However, the Sun Moon Tribe Emperor was too confident. He never thought that his Nethermoon would be injured by someone, and even more so, he never thought that it would be snatched away. Seeing the Nethermoon suddenly disappear and seeing the ugly expression on the Sun Moon Tribe Emperor's face, the big shots present immediately knew that the Nethermoon had been snatched away by Qin Yun. Great Divine King, are you still not going to take action? Your disciple's Nethermoon has already been snatched away, the Law Enforcement Realm King asked. The Law Enforcement Realm King hated Qin Yun very much. The Law Enforcement Realm King also wanted to kill Qin Yun, but he knew that Qin Yun was an invincible existence among the four divine sons. Therefore, he did not plan to take action to avoid getting himself killed. Everyone could see that the Sun Moon Tribe Emperor was being suppressed by Qin Yun. First, he was hit by the arrow, then the Nine-Dragon Brilliant Sun Tribulation, and now he had lost the Nethermoon. If this continued, he would definitely be beaten up. The Sun Moon Tribe Emperor's eyes turned red with anger. Seeing that no one came to help him, he became very angry. He also understood why no one came to help him. It was mainly because they were afraid of Qin Yun. He now realized that facing Qin Yun among the four divine sons was not a wise decision. Just as the Sun Moon Tribe Emperor was about to admit defeat, Qin Yun suddenly appeared behind him. Feeling an ice-cold, killing intent behind him, the Sun Moon Tribe Emperor immediately used his fastest speed to dodge. Hua! The myriad heaven divine saber in Qin Yun's hand chopped down. Although his saber's speed was very fast, the Sun Moon Tribe Emperor still managed to dodge it. However, a layer of skin and flesh was cut off from his arm. After the Sun Moon Tribe Emperor dodged the saber, his entire body disappeared. He used his fastest speed to escape far away. Everyone, please leave the four divine sons temporarily. I want to carry out a great purge within the four divine sons. Qin Yun's voice came from all directions. Soon after, a wave of ferocious tribulation power surged forward. A few terrifying great tribulations are brewing. Qin Yun held the divine king heavenly seal in his hand and mobilized the divine power of the other divine sons to form the great tribulation divine power. He wants to see what the limit of his nine-son world extermination scripture is. Yu Shangyun and the divine chief judge brought a group of people and left the core of the four divine sons. The great divine lord and myriad heaven's dragon emperor did not stay here. Although they want to stay inside the four divine sons, this is Qin Yun's territory, and their relationship with Qin Yun is not good. Not long after they left the four divine sons, Qin Yun activated the nine-dragon brilliant sun tribulation, breaking sun heavenly lightning tribulation and heavenly fire heavenly lightning tribulation. All kinds of tribulation power appeared wave after wave, as if plowing the ground. They wreaked havoc inside the four divine sons again and again. This kind of tribulation power not only attracted the attention of several myriad heavens divine sons, Qin Yun also used his own Tao image to activate it. Therefore, the tribulation power contains a divine might that can control the heavens. The might of a nine-sun world extermination scripture is truly not to be underestimated. But if it is used to attack one person, it is still not suitable. The area it covers is too large. It is mainly used to deal with many people. Qin Yun is currently inside the tyrannical tribulation power of the four divine sons. He is floating in the air and looking down at the tribulation power he released. The current him seems to be the ruler of everything. With a raise of his hand, he can release a dreadful great tribulation. And when he was going through tribulation, he could lose his life at any time when facing this kind of great tribulation. Now, the tribulation power he released is even stronger and more terrifying than the great tribulation he faced back then. Qin Yun entered the core area and released the nether moon he just obtained. Sister Yu Yu, I just obtained this nether moon. Is it useful? Qin Yun asked. Yu Yu is inside the core. She can't come out as she pleases like Yang Shiryu. It's very useful. It's very suitable for me, Yu Yu said with a smile. Sister Yu Yu, can this nether moon make the four divine sons even stronger? The inside and outside of the four divine sons need even stronger power to protect them. Qin Yun doesn't want the divine court built here to be disturbed. Chapter 27:27. After Qin Yun released the nether moon, it was sucked into the golden red moon. The core of the four godsons was a moon. This was also the uniqueness of the four godsons. Moon Mystery herself cultivated the nether moon. Now, if she could control the inner core to absorb the nether moon and convert it into energy. Qin Yun took out the magic mirror and told Yu Shangyun and the chief judge that they could now enter the core. The core had already been purified by Qin Yun using the Great Tribulation. Anything that tried to hide inside would die under the Great Tribulation. Qin Yun, we can't go in now. Divine Chief sent sound transmission to Qin Yun through the magic mirror. Those bastards have surrounded us. Xiang Yun also sent a message to Qin Yun. They're not letting us enter 4 divine sons. It seems like they want to start a war with us. We're not afraid of them. Don't worry about us. Then I will go out and take a look, Qin Yun said. No need. You are very strong inside the 4 divine sun, but that might not necessarily be the case outside. Yu Shangyun still hopes that Qin Yun can stay inside the core. I'll go out now. Yin was naturally not afraid. Even outside of the 4 divine sons, he was not afraid of those powerhouses. He still had many trump cards that he hadn't used yet. Qin Yun asked Yu to send him out. Outside the 4 godsons, there was an intense glow. It was only at close range that one could see their figures. If they were too far away, they wouldn't be able to see anything. It was as if they were shrouded in a dense fog of light. Qin, after the cloud left, it immediately flew to Yu Shangyun's side. Big divine kings and the others were unable to occupy territory in the core, so they were definitely unhappy. After all, they could be considered the strongest group of people in the divine wasteland, yet they were chased out of the 4 divine Sunday. The news spread through the magic mirror. Demon mirrors were becoming more and more common in the deity's divine wasteland. Be it non-humans or humans, they all liked to use them. No one knew who had uploaded what had happened in the 4 celestial suns to the demonic mirror. They could even see the process of the Sun-Moon tribe's emperor being suppressed by Qin Yun. Of previously, there were people who said that Qin Yun, the little divine king, was inferior to the great divine king. But now, even the great divine king appeared extremely cautious when facing Qin Yun. Most what was surprising was that great divine lord had brought a group of big shots with him, but he was actually chased out. Big when the God King found out that he was looked down upon by many people in a magic mirror, he was very unhappy. He crushed a magic mirror on the spot and told his subordinates to stop using magic mirrors. He run to at that moment, the grand godly lord, the Taiyin divine tribe, the great sky divine tribe, and the enforcers surrounded the gods of the myriad realms divine court and the experts of the Mystic Moon Alliance. From in terms of numbers, the great divine lord side had more, and their overall aura was stronger. Zhu, the heavenly dragon race, and the heavenly secret sect did not participate. Tian, there are not many experts in the G-Gate. Although there are many powerful dragons in the All-Heavens dragon race, the All-Heavens dragon emperor has seen how powerful Qin Yun is. Moreover, he doesn't have any deep hatred with Qin Yun, so he didn't participate. Yu, the ancient clan race, the 9-Sun tiger race, the 9-Sun elves, the 9-Sun heavenly lions, and other non-human races from the 9-Sun sacred ground were also watching from the side. They weren't in the same camp as the great divine lord, the Taiyin divine race, and the Tai Tian divine race. Naturally, there was no need for them to join them and fight with their lives on the line. Apart from the 9-Sun sacred ground, the Mystic Moon Alliance and the All-Heavens dragon race should be considered one of the most powerful forces in the All-Heavens divine wilderness era. Among them, the Mystic Moon Alliance and the law enforcement world were also in a state of hostility. The great divine lord's divine king palace, as well as his disciples' Sun Yin divine race and Great Heaven divine race, were all top forces in the 9-Sun sacred ground. When they came out of the 9-Sun sacred ground, they thought that they would be able to do anything in the All-Heavens divine wilderness. They didn't expect that the moment they came out, they would encounter the All-Heavens dragon race. And after entering the 4 divine sons, they were chased out by the little divine king, who they looked down on the most. To them, it was a series of setbacks. Zhu, the other great forces of the heavenly dragon race, quietly watched from the side as the great divine lord dealt with the situation and whether he could turn the tables in the end. Great divine lord, we have no enmity with you. Do you really want to take this matter to such an extent? The divine chief said coldly. You injured me and little Siet previously. We haven't settled this debt with you. Now, you're still surrounding us. What is the meaning of this? What do I mean? You and the little divine king joined hands to resist the great divine lord. This is a violation of the 9-Sun law spirit. The emperor of the Sun-Moon tribe said angrily, You must know that the great divine lord was appointed by the 9-Yang law spirit. He is the only divine king in the All-Heavens divine desolate. The little divine king and your myriad realms divine court all have to listen to the great divine Lord. The chief judge sneered, "How laughable! The nine-young law spirit has never conveyed such a message to us." If the great divine Lord is really appointed by the nine-young law spirit, then he should have the ability to take back his divine position. Wufeng coldly sneered, "Little divine King Qin Yun, he has the ability to take back his divine position and transfer it. The great divine Lord should also have it, right? Could it be that this great divine Lord is a fake?" The evil god laughed loudly. "It's really possible. This guy doesn't have the slightest bit of the spirit of a divine king." The little divine king, Boss Qin, has never interfered with the matters of the Myriad Realms Divine Court because the nine-yang law spirit has already appointed the divine chief judge to manage the divine court. What Boss Qin wants to do is just transfer the divine position. That's right. Although Boss Qin has the position of divine king, he has never been like a certain fellow who treats the gods of the Myriad Realms Divine Court as a servant. The divine chief said coldly. Listen, upon hearing these words, the gods behind him were ignited in anger. The main responsibility of these divine position gods was to maintain the order of the divine desolate land. The nine suns would bestow upon them divine power, allowing them to complete certain tasks and protect them. They were not anyone's slaves. They sincerely wanted to maintain the order of the divine desolate land. Qin Yun was a god king mainly because he was a sun god. Furthermore, he was powerful and could become a king among the gods. And Qin Yun's duty was the same as the gods. He had to maintain the order of the divine desolate land. The one who managed the divine court of the myriad realms and arranged the affairs of the gods was the divine chief judge. Qin Yun understood the operation of the divine court of the myriad realms very well. Therefore, he believed that the divine court of the myriad realms had nothing to do with him, so he did not go there. And the great divine Lord's actions towards the divine court of the myriad realms were simply to enslave the gods and make them his minions. Divine Judge, your most powerful god's punishment flag is ineffective when facing the great divine Lord. This is the punishment of the nine-yang law spirit for disobeying the great divine Lord. The law enforcement realm king said, Deity the law realm king is a bald old man. His bald head is covered with runes. Half of his face and bald head are covered with runes. Even his neck is covered with runes. Most what made people feel strange was that when the law enforcement realm king didn't speak, no one noticed his existence. Dang, when he spoke, he felt that there was such a person. And when he looked at him carefully, he was also shocked by his powerful strength. Great. Chapter 27-28. The divine judge's expression is extremely unsightly. Xia Wufeng summoned his origin divine sword, ready to fight at any time. The reason why he was injured before was mainly to protect the divine judge. The divine judge does not have the power of the heaven's divine punishment flag, so he is very weak. Xia Wufeng relied on his own strength to fight against the great divine Lord and his group of powerful subordinates. Furthermore, he protected the divine judge and was injured because of this. If it wasn't for the divine judge, if he had risked his life, he might have been able to severely injure the great divine Lord. Our Mystic Moon Alliance recognizes the divine judge. We have close cooperation with the Myriad Realms Divine Court. If you are enemies with the Myriad Realms Divine Court, then you're also enemies of our Mystic Moon Alliance. Yushan Yun said, One, the Divine Court is very powerful, and everything they're doing now is righteous. They're also maintaining the order of the divine desolate land. Godwin the Yu clan was in the nine heavens. They were bullied by all kinds of evil powers, and no power helped them. If now, in the divine desolate land, there's an absolute righteous existence like the Myriad Realms Divine Court. Thus, her Divine Moon clan will do their best to help them. Only with this, the divine desolate land is not as dark as the nine heavens. The law enforcement realm king laughed loudly. Myriad Realms Divine Court, do you really think that you are righteous? Let me tell you my law enforcement realm represents the order of the divine desolate land. The heavenly rules and Tao teachings in our hands are the laws that all living beings in the divine desolate land should abide by. Law enforcement realm. How many times have I said that your era is over? This is the great era of the divine desolate land. Don't always use those broken heavenly rules and Tao teachings to scare people. The person who spoke seemed to have appeared out of nowhere. He stood right next to the holy judge and even put his hand on the holy judge's shoulder. This person is a very young man. However, he is bald and has no hair at all. He is none other than Tian Daozi. You damned thing, how are you still alive? The law enforcement realm king cursed angrily. What bullshit heavenly rules and Tao teachings? They have long been destroyed by Qin Yun. Tian Daozi shook his head and said with a smile, Qin Yun's existence proves that the heavenly rules and Tao teachings cannot restrict the entire divine desolate land. All the big shots present unanimously agreed because the power of the heavenly rules and Tao teachings was getting weaker and weaker. Many law enforcement great sovereigns had come from the law enforcement world. Tian Daozi's words made them very angry. Although the power of the heavenly rules orthodoxy was gradually weakening, the law enforcers had relied on the heavenly rules orthodoxy for many years to obtain large amounts of resources. Therefore, the law enforcers were still very strong. However, very few people had seen them fight, so they didn't know how strong they were. Big the Divine King didn't know who Tian Daozi was, but he still interrogated the Divine Judge. Divine Judge, quickly release your deity punishment flag. Let everyone see that you, the Inquisitor, are nothing but a fart. Your power has already been withdrawn by the Nine Yang celestial spirit. You're basically a divine judge now. You're completely a cripple. Shut up. Xiao Wufeng was furious, and his sword momentum suddenly rose. The one-armed sword god in white was enraged at this moment. The sword aura on his body was like a torrential wave that surged forward. Just like that, just as everyone was shocked, Xiao Wufeng appeared in front of the great divine lord with his destiny sword in hand. His entire body released a strong golden light, and the sword force followed the golden light on his body and surged in all directions. At the big shots who used swords couldn't help but be secretly shocked when they saw this terrifying sword aura. Xiao Wufeng's divine sword pierced towards the great divine lord's forehead. The great divine lord roared as a sun mark appeared between his brows. It shot out a strong light and rushed towards Xiao Wufeng's divine sword, blocking the incoming divine sword. Little Xia, come back quickly. You're still injured. The divine judge shouted anxiously. Just as he was about to rush over, he suddenly felt someone press down on his shoulder. Press the hand that held his shoulder had a power that made him feel very at ease. He didn't need to look to know that it was Qin Yun. Only Qin Yun could give him this kind of stable feeling. Qin Yun had already arrived. When he opened his heavenly eye, he could see that the wounds on Xiao Wufeng's body were gradually tearing apart. This was because he had not fully recovered from his previous heavy injuries. Now that he was engaged in such an intense battle, it naturally caused his old injuries to relapse. The great divine lord had attacked the divine judge before. At that time, it was Xiao Wufeng who had blocked the attacks of the great divine lord and a group of experts by himself and saved the divine judge. Boss, leave it to me. Qin Yun's voice sounded. All right. When Xiao Wufeng heard Qin Yun's calm voice, his figure flashed and transformed into a sword beam. He flashed to the side of the divine judge, but a trace of blood still flowed out from the corner of his mouth. Moonwind Xiang Yun and Luo Yaofeng saw Qin Yun appear. They could not help but worry. They were prepared to attack at any time. Yu Yao Yao was also holding a mirror in her hand. The Nine Sons Kuan Peng was inside. If Qin Yun was in danger, she would take action. Madyang Hu Di and the White Tiger royal family's elder, by Li Fei, were also prepared to attack. At Mujin, who was beside Yu Shangyun, had once wanted to kill Qin Yun. However, now that she saw Qin Yun facing the great divine lord and the law enforcement realm king alone, she was inexplicably worried about Qin Yun and had the thought of helping him. Qin Yun, I still underestimated you. The great divine lord smiled complacently. I thought you would hide inside the 4 divine suns and not come out. Yun also smiled and said, You and I will have to settle this eventually. I wonder if it will be today. You really have guts. The great divine lord took out his sword. Qin Wenyan saw his sword. He felt that it was somewhat funny. It was actually the myriad heavens divine sword. In his eyes, this kind of sword was the kind that could be found on the streets. Are you going to do it yourself, or are you going to do it with your disciple? And that law enforcement realm king? Qin Yun looked at the law enforcement realm king, whose head was covered in runes. With a glance, it could be seen that the law enforcement realm king had a very powerful puppet body. The runes on his head were extremely terrifying. Great the divine king laughed loudly. To deal with you, I only need 1 hand. Besides, what's the big deal about bullying the few? After all, the entire God Desolate is watching. Boss Qin, what cultivation level are you at now? Tian Daozi suddenly asked. My 4 divine Dao heavenly pills have just evolved. I should be a 4-star heavenly lord, right? Qin Yun replied. He was only a 4-star heavenly lord, yet he dared to challenge the experts who had surpassed the heavenly lord. This kind of courage was truly admirable. Lingdai Xin said in a low voice, Is this guy hiding his strength? He possesses such terrifying divine power. How can he still be in the realm of heavenly lord? He is a person with 10 images, and every breakthrough is extremely difficult. However, the increase in divine power obtained from every breakthrough is many times stronger than that of others. It cannot be judged by common sense. Great Elder Ling sighed with emotion. He might be the only person with 10 images left in the God Desolate. Ling Daixin and Ling Taiyun had heard of the legend of the 10 images. Only now did they remember that not only did Qin Yun possess 10 images, he had also grown up from 0. Chapter 27-29. Before Qin Yun met the Great Divine Lord, he really felt that the Great Divine Lord was a high and mighty existence. But now that he saw the Great Divine Lord's performance, he was very disappointed. This was because the Great Divine Lord did not have the demeanor of an expert. Not only was he arrogant, he was also very irritable. He did not look like an expert at all. Although Yin was standing in front of the Great Divine Lord, he was very wary of another person. In just now, he had noticed an old man wearing plain yellow clothes. This old man was standing beside the Emperor of the Sun Moon tribe, and he was quite far back. This old man was very inconspicuous, but Qin Yun felt that he was a very powerful person. He guessed that he was most likely Ling Taiyun and Ling Daixin's father, the Emperor of the Extreme Sky Tribe. The Emperor of the Extreme Sky Tribe did not reveal himself at all, as if he was aloof from worldly affairs. He was the Emperor of the Extreme Sky Tribe, but now he was like an inconspicuous follower. From beginning to end, he was very calm, like an expert following his master. He did not speak much and would not steal the limelight from others. This kind of person was often very terrifying. The pressure he gave Qin Yun was very great, far greater than that of the Great Divine Lord and the Law Enforcement Realm King. I don't need to take out the Divine King Heavenly Seal. You are not worthy of me summoning the Divine King Heavenly Seal. Qin Yun retracted his attention and focused on the Great Divine Lord. Although he retracted his attention, he was still affected by the unfathomable Emperor of the Extreme Sky Tribe. That the Emperor of the Extreme Sky Tribe brought him a lot of psychological pressure. If the Emperor of the Extreme Sky Tribe suddenly attacked, he would have to be on guard. If you don't use the Divine King Heavenly Seal, then you're dead. The Great Divine Lord said, word by word. His voice was cold and filled with anger as he stabbed towards Qin Yun's head. The speed of his sword was as fast as lightning. The moment he attacked, everyone seemed to see a huge sword made of lightning piercing through Qin Yun's head. However, no one saw this scene. Instead, a shocking and unexpected scene appeared. Qin Yun put his hands together, and a bang sound exploded out. He actually used his palms to clamp the heavenly sword that had pierced into his head. Not only that, the divine power released from his palms also carried a very strong vibration. causing the heavenly sword to let out a buzzing sound. Great Divine Lord's myriad heaven divine sword condensed a very powerful divine power. However, with Qin Yun's palms clamping together, the divine power was completely dispersed. Most what was shocking was that the great Divine Lord's hand that was holding the sword was shaken off. Big the Godly King was also very alarmed. He never expected Qin Yun to do something so unusual. After all, he was the great Divine Lord. After his hand was shaken away, he immediately switched hands to grab the sword hilt. "I'll let you be arrogant." As the great Divine Lord drew his sword, he pushed his palm towards Qin Yun's abdomen. Qin Yun abruptly lifted her leg, and in an instant, a ferocious and terrifying wave of thunder and lightning burst forth. He raised his leg and swept it towards the great Divine Lord. A large amount of divine power surged out and turned into a ferocious wave of lightning. That this huge wave of thunder and lightning contained profound inscriptions, making it hard for people to tell if it was released through a divine technique or an inscription battle technique. The lightning rushed out like a collapsing dam, attacking towards the great Divine Lord's palm. The two of them were so close to each other that their attacks and kicks were extremely fast. After an instant of collision, chi waves surged up. Qin Yun's move just now was the Heavenly Annihilation 9 Styles Thunder Collapse. He had fused the Thunder Totem inscription battle technique, and its power had increased by a lot. It allowed him to use the cultivation of a 4-star divine Heavenly Lord to shake the great Divine Lord, who had surpassed the cultivation of a divine Heavenly Lord. When the great Divine Lord's palm collided with Qin Yun's thigh, he could feel that the other party's divine power was extremely terrifying. Qin Yun's thigh was in pain from the beating, and the great Divine Lord's palm was in intense pain from the violent thunder and lightning divine power. Qin Yun had no choice but to let go of the great Divine Lord's heavenly sword. After the great Divine Lord drew his sword, he quickly distanced himself from Qin Yun. He did not want to clash head-on with Qin Yun at such a close distance. He was worried that he would suffer a great loss. Qin Yun was not afraid. He had just probed that his body was slightly stronger than the great Divine Lord's. The great Divine Lord was very clear that his body was far inferior to Qin Yun's. This made him very angry. He was a dignified, great Divine Lord. When he sparred with the little Divine King, he used his own weapon, but he did not gain the upper hand. Instead, he was beaten back by the other party. From the collision just now, the surrounding experts could more or less see the strength of the little Divine King. The great Divine Lord divine power seemed to be much stronger than Qin Yun's, but the great Divine Lord's cultivation was much higher than Qin Yun's after all. Furthermore, even though his divine power was strong, it was unable to shake Qin Yun's powerful body. Qin Yun's divine power was not as strong as the great Divine Lord's and was even weaker by quite a bit. However, his divine power was enough to injure the great Divine Lord's body. Beside the heavenly Dragon Emperor, Long Shu's beautiful eyes were filled with pleasant surprise. She knew that the reason why Qin Yun's body was so strong was because of the tempering of the heavenly Fate Dragon Lake's water. The heavenly dragon race had also tempered their bodies in the heavenly Fate Dragon Lake, but they were unable to reach Qin Yun's level. Qin Yun, a human, had accidentally used the heavenly Fate Dragon Lake to strengthen his body and cultivated the super heaven divine body. This was a body realm that many experts were pursuing. His body is at the level of the super heaven divine body, but his cultivation is far from being able to keep up with his body. Someone suddenly said, it was an old man from the Sun In divine race. It has not been long since Qin Yun drank the lake water beside the heavenly Fate Dragon Lake and tricked the Sun In divine race people into drinking the little monsters in the lake. That after the old man mentioned this matter, many people immediately thought of this matter. Qin after Yun drank the heavenly Fate Dragon Lake's water. Not only did he not give birth to any little monsters, he even cultivated the super heaven divine body. This caused many experienced and knowledgeable experts to be puzzled. Even the heavenly Dragon Emperor exclaimed, "How did this guy do it?" Super heaven divine body? It was cultivated by the divine, king heavenly seal. The 9 sons' lost spirit saw that you were so weak and your cultivation increased slowly. So it helped you cultivate this super heaven divine body. The great divine king said unhappily. Qin Yun said with a sneer, "Is that so? Why didn't the 9 sons' lost spirit help you?" The great divine king tightly gripped the sword in his hand. He had already used his weapon to attack, but Qin Yun had yet to take out his weapon. This made him very unhappy. He thought that Qin Yun was doing this on purpose to mock him. Quickly take out your weapon. Otherwise, people will say that I'm bullying you when you're unarmed. The great divine king shouted, "If you fight me with your bare hands, even if I defeat you, it will be an unfair victory. Furthermore, I can't do anything to an unarmed person." Qin Yin chuckled. Yin chuckled and said, "You won't use any weapons. We'll fight barehanded. Isn't that better?" Although the great divine king was arrogant and conceited, he wasn't stupid at all. He wouldn't do such a stupid thing. "Qin Yun, you are a despicable and shameless person. If I agree to fight you barehanded, if you suddenly take out a weapon during the battle, wouldn't I suffer a great loss?" The great divine lord said coldly. He was certain that Qin Yun did not have a better divine weapon than the myriad heaven divine sword in his hands. Chapter 27:30. Qin Yin could see through the great divine lord's thoughts with a glance. He only felt that the great divine lord was a little naive. When fighting against an important opponent, he actually didn't understand his opponent in advance and dared to be so arrogant. One had to know that Qin Yin did not know much about the great divine lord, so he appeared to be more cautious. Even though his body was stronger than his opponent's, he did not underestimate his opponent. "I won't use a weapon for the time being. Ever since I became a divine lord, I haven't had a good fight. The main reason is because I haven't met a decent opponent," Qin Yin said with a smile. "And you are a pretty good opponent. Fighting with you will allow me to clearly see my own level." Qin Yin was very serious, but in the eyes of the great divine lord and the others, this was equivalent to provocation. From his words, it could be seen that Qin Yin wanted to treat the great divine lord as a sparring partner. A dignified great divine lord was actually being treated as a sparring partner. Qin Yun's words were extremely ear-piercing to the great divine lord. He immediately flew into a rage and no longer spoke. He brandished his sword and attacked fiercely. Shua! With a few swishes, the sword wind swept away the surrounding divine sunlight mist. The intense light mist released by the 4 divine sons seemed to be swept up by the divine swords of the heavens, condensing into swords of light. They stabbed at Qin Yun from all directions. Many of the experts watching the battle from afar had no choice but to release their divine power and condense it into a powerful shield to protect themselves and the juniors around them. As for the place where Qin Yun and the great divine lord were fighting, it was already enveloped by all sorts of berserk divine power waves. Intense light shot out in all directions, making it impossible to see what was happening inside. Only he knew that the great divine lord was the first to attack. That ferocious and furious sword aura was extremely terrifying, and it even carried the divine power of several myriad realms' divine sons. Great divine kings could also borrow the divine power of the myriad realms' divine sun. Even the powerhouses of the 9 sons' sacred land rarely saw the great divine lord fight in such a furious manner. The distance between Yun and the great divine lord was not far. The great divine lord's sudden explosive attack quickly landed on his body. Qin Yun was already prepared. The heavenly lion Tao image in his body moved and roared within the sacred tribulation gate. The heavenly lion totem heavenly rune immediately appeared on his body. His body suddenly swelled up and many golden hairs appeared under his skin. Upon closer inspection, those hairs were all inscriptions. It looked as if his body was suddenly covered by the golden heavenly lion fur. Heavenly lion protection. Let's see how strong the heavenly lion totem heavenly rune is. This is the first time Qin Yun is using the heavenly lion totem heavenly rune. This kind of heavenly pattern originated from his Tao idol, so it was very easy for him to release it now. Tian Lion Totem Heavenly Rune is not a defensive type rune, but Qin Yun thinks that he can give it a try. Bith's divine power condensed into astral swords and stabbed at Qin Yun's body from all directions. Qin Yun couldn't escape at all. She was constantly being attacked crazily. But at this moment, he only felt as if his body was being attacked by a gale. He didn't feel any pain. Tian the lion's protective body combined with his transcendent god body was actually able to block Great Divine Lord's angry attack. The Heavenly Lion Totem Heavenly Pattern is truly powerful. This kind of rune is not used for defense, but its defensive power is very strong. Qin Yun tested it and felt extremely satisfied. Tian Lion Totem Heavenly Rune should be used to attack. Qin Yun inhaled a mouthful of air and began using another kind of power to free himself. He activated the power of the Nether Sun and then distorted the surrounding space, causing all the astral swords that were attacking him to be distorted by the space and fly in all directions. In the big shots watching the battle cursed in their hearts. They could only strengthen their defense to prevent themselves from being swept by the Great Divine Lord's astral swords. Great Divine Lord also sensed that Qin Yun was not defeated. Qin after Yun distorted space. If the divine power attacking him was not strong enough and was unable to break through his spatial barrier, it would be difficult for it to touch his body. After the Great Divine Lord knew that his attack was ineffective, he immediately stopped. Just the moment he stopped, Qin Yun suddenly launched a berserk attack. Stepping on the air, he charged towards the Great Divine Lord. A moment ago, he could still be seen charging towards the Great Divine Lord. In the next moment, he was already behind the Great Divine Lord. Great Divine Lord never expected Qin Yun to be so unafraid of death. He actually charged over with his bare hands. He quickly turned around and slashed horizontally with his sword. The sweeping sword wind turned into a sharp blade of light. If he was hit, even the transcendent divine body would not be able to withstand it. Qin Yun let out a loud roar at the countless light blades that were slashing at him. That terrifying roar caused many of the big shots of the Nine Sun Sacred Land to look at the Nine Sun Heavenly Lion race, because what Qin Yun used was the Heavenly Lion's roar. Furthermore, it was incomparably authentic. It was even more terrifying than the roars of those heavenly lions. Furthermore, it was as if the heavenly tribulation was roaring, bringing with it a fierce and violent might. The sound wave fluctuated intensely, shattering all the light blades that the Great Divine Lord had slashed out. Qin Yun sneered and released the super-gravity domain, enveloping the Great Divine Lord. Great! The God King felt as if his body had suddenly lost gravity. He felt as light as a feather, as if a gust of wind could blow him away. He knew that this was a type of gravity, and he also knew that it was released by the Nether Sun. It's useless for you to use the power of the Nether Sun to deal with me. The Great Divine Lord laughed maniacally. Suddenly, a strong blue light flashed from his heart. It's the Heavenly Universe Divine Sun. Qin Yun was alarmed. The Great Divine Lord's heart was actually a Heavenly Universe Divine Sunday. The Heavenly Universe Divine Sun was very powerful, but now it had been shrunk and refined into the heart of the Great Divine Lord. How terrifying would that be? Xiao Yun, a lot of divine power has been sealed in his Heavenly Universe Divine Sun's heart. Ling Yun said, with his current body, it's impossible for him to support the divine power of the Heavenly Universe Divine Sun, so more than half of it has been sealed. When everyone saw this, they were all astonished. Was this the most powerful aspect of the Great Divine Lord? The heart was actually a Heavenly Universe Divine Sun that had been suppressed. After the Great Divine Lord mobilized the divine power of the Heavenly Universe Divine Sun, his body shook and shook off the gravity that enveloped his body. Although the Great Divine Lord was an old man, from the looks of it, he was filled with exuberant energy. His body contained an extremely terrifying heavenly universe, divine sun power. His eyes shot out two beams of blue light that shot towards Qin Yun's body. Qin Yun dodged, but as long as the great divine lord stared at him, the two beams of light would be able to move quickly. No matter how fast he was not faster than the great divine lord's eyes. Therefore, he could only use the nether sun to release a spatial barrier, twisting the two blue beams of light and sweeping past his body. Qin Yun, let me tell you, the center of the nine-sun sacred land is a super huge nether sun. I have already mastered all kinds of methods to resist the nether sun. The great divine lord laughed arrogantly. Your strongest should be the nether sun, right? This is already destined to be restrained by me. Admit defeat. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.